Hey, welcome, party animals. Danny and Dusty with you. Glorious Thursday. Happy NBA Finals Day.
Hey, it's
Holy
here. We made it.
Guacamole. It has felt like it's taken forever.
3 months later.
It's only been a week, though.
Mm.
Bare Naked Ladies, this bad boy.
Oh, God.
It's been 1 week. Yep.
Now, thanks. That's stuck in my head the rest of the show.
You're welcome.
You're an a-hole. Ooh.
Ooh.
Round Ball Rock?
Round Ball Rock. That's coming back.
Fitting for the NBA Finals, right?
Yeah. Hells yeah. Jordan Schultz is in the building. Hey, Schultzy, how are you?
Good to see you guys. Happy
Hello.
Friday Eve.
It's very dark in your room.
Yeah, I'm a cave guy.
Are you?
I like the cave. I like it dark. I get headaches easily, and we're already looking at like 6 screens, so the light being on just makes that worse.
You're not a blue lens guy? The blue light, is that what gives you the headaches?
I think so. It's just and the movement.
Wait, you got
on the
blue
screen.
eyes?
I do. I got baby blue eyes.
Now, people with blue eyes very sensitive to light.
Just very sensitive.
Yeah. Very sensitive. Period.
I'm a sensy person, so that's not
No.
surprising.
You didn't know that about blue-eyed people?
I did not. I am 35 years old. I've had blue eyes my entire life, and I had no idea.
That people with blue eyes are more sensitive to light?
I mean, it makes sense why if I don't bring my sunglasses to the pool, like just the sun reflecting off of the water,
Yeah.
I am squinting and I'm just like I am
And
not
maybe
comfortable.
your overall whiteness too, Jordan. You're a very white man.
Hey,
you're
I'm an 8th native, so you know what? Shove it, bro. I am a card-carrying Native American, and June 6th?
Hells yeah.
I am starting to tan. I am starting to get
starting to
little bit.
tan. You're starting to tan a little bit.
Yeah.
It is June 6th, D-Day,
Indeed.
80 years ago.
Crazy to think about. I was watching the Secretary of Defense is over there in Normandy right now, or 8 hours ago, doing speeches and commemorations, and they still have some living World War II vets out there, and it's like there was a video the other day of the acting chief of staff escorting a 4-star general escorting a World War II private.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty nuts. Like that's not for those who are like not in the military, that's not like that's a pretty insane thing to see.
Yeah. And
So
I saw a post last night, and it was like, the first boats that landed ashore on D-Day, 90% of those young men died.
no, we had front facing boats back then that we didn't have all the rear unloading boats.
And there was a picture of one of the boats as they were just like they were just separating from the ships out in the ocean, and it was like you saw the look in some of their faces, and they're like, most of these young men aren't even 18 years old. Like they weren't even 18 yet, and they'd enlisted early, lied about their birth date, enlisted early, and I was looking at this picture. It was like kids,
They're
man.
babies.
They were kids. Yeah. They were kids going in there. I was just like, holy smokes! Like you just think about.
Well, here's one for you. There's another memorial just off the beach in Normandy in Vincennes, I believe, where it's dedicated to 72,000 British troops, or actually UK because there's Irish and Scottish as well, whose remains were never found because they were, not to be gross, they were battered into oblivion by artillery.
Golly.
And that's just so you talk about like the American soldiers that were lost.
Mm-hmm.
90% of the first boats, like in military parlance, they were a speed bump, and that's how that warfare was fought back then. Was you threw bodies at stuff, and it was just you had to sacrifice whole units, knowing that.
Yeah, like you go back
the
to.
goal.
I mean, this is. Obviously, like the South Park movie, you remember that when they were like Operation Human Shield,
Yes,
whatever. But the
that's
the evolution of warfare. That's what I mean. Just think of like when they had muskets.
Yeah, you lined up and
like you were in line, and then when you were loaded, you're up. And it was like that's exactly how. And then you go back to like Braveheart. It was literally just
charge in.
All right, who's the fastest?
Yeah, then
you get down that hill.
And then you had cavalry that came in and kind of changed things, and then
just think of where we're at now, where we send a drone out, And
Now you can get an RC drone for a couple $100 and strap some C4 to it and sink a boat now.
that's what the Ukrainians are doing.
Don't give people ideas.
No, that's what they're doing.
Are you
Have
kidding
you
me?
seen those videos?
I have.
The
Oh, yeah.
Ukrainians they're using like drones you can buy at Best Buy
Yeah.
to go or
They're
right
stri-
off Amazon.
And they're taking shaped explosives.
That's
Which
crazy.
is like a more precision munition, but they're literally flying them into Russian T-72s and T-90s and crippling tanks,
Jeez,
taking out
yeah.
tank tracks with drones.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a day of remembrance. Is like,
absolutely it is.
you know, I went through War College and went to American Military University, and I've got degrees in history, and this is always one of those days where it's every time there's new footage, there's new uncoverings of this day and the
Dude,
lead up to this
World
day.
War II in color.
Isn't
That series
yeah.
is absolutely mind blowing.
you can't fathom the scale. It's like trying to comprehend the universe on a smaller scale, and even then, you cannot fathom the scale when you see it.
Yeah.
It is
Imagine Kyrie trying to do that.
good Lord.
He'd be like, "Pfft, no way they did that on a flat Earth.
No, they rode off the earth.
Yeah.
But no, it's an incredible day in the history of mankind, and pushing away Nazi tyranny and the sacrifice that hundreds of thousands of people made over the course of a week.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, and then
And the literal millions.
the millions of people that
But I'm talking specifically in
Yeah.
D-Day and Normandy and the advance
Yeah.
through northern France.
that's crazy.
Like, it's insane to think about. Pivot to sports.
If
off that.
you're wondering how quickly this show can go from bare naked ladies to remembering
there
D-Day,
you go.
that is very quick.
Mhm.
It's very quick. We can go from teaching Jordan Schultz that people with blue eyes are more sensitive to light,
Mhm.
and then bare naked ladies and World War II.
I was not prepared for
And
a
we still got 3 minutes left in this segment.
I was not prepared for a chicken to China to Chinese chicken switch to Normandy within half a second. That was a little stark, you guys. But hey,
It
that's
can-
talent. So
It
good
can,
job.
It can happen, Schultze. Schultze, it can happen. Because, I thought one of the coolest things that my high school ever did was we brought in World War II vets in, because it was like we had a couple of teachers. Dave Ackerman was kind of spearheading this whole
Mhm.
thing. Mr. Ackerman, big shout outs to you. He was like, the World War II vets are dying, guys.
And that's
This
when-
was
20 years ago.
24
5.
years ago. That he was like, the World War II vets are dying. Like,
Yeah.
you guys need to talk to them. So they, over 2 days, brought them in. You could go and you could sit. They would share their stories, kind of their life stories.
Mhm.
It was one of the coolest things.
And you guys
they-
recorded yours,
They
right?
videotaped
Yeah.
all of them, and it was like it's eye opening.
Yeah.
I think that I think every generation needs to go back and hear those stories and the sacrifices that were made. And it wasn't just like a sacrifice for your country, right? It was a sacrifice for you,
Mhm.
your family, your community, and it was like a ripple effect that was protecting
Nationwide.
our country,
Yeah.
protecting our freedoms, and protecting those outside of our borders as well. And it was I'm very glad and thankful that happened, because there's only a handful of them left, man.
No, especially now, because we're 80 years since Normandy, which means
Yeah.
these guys were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. You're talking about 100-year-old
Yeah.
folks at this point, or older. I did essentially the same thing. Jim Mavison, who's the social studies teacher, and I believe he's still the AD at Beaverton, had us go out to not even retirement homes. They were kind of like a lot of World War II vets kind of went into those
Assisted
assisted
living communities.
The earlier shit, like they were in like their 50s and 60s. Like it wasn't like they weren't that old yet. Well, I guess they were a little bit older. 70s,
I think they were old.
70s.
They
yeah.
were older, yeah.
But I spent, I want to say, about 15 hours over the course of 3 weeks with an individual and got his entire story. Wrote a
Pretty awesome.
my senior thesis on it in high school, and it was I don't know, maybe that impacted going in the military. I don't really think about that part of it, but it definitely left a mark on me,
Yeah.
understanding like what that really was, because and we talk about what history books do and don't include. when you get a firsthand account,
It changes.
it changes stuff.
It changes how you're looking at everything.
Yeah.
Changes how you look at the world, really.
Mhm.
I mean, that is one of the blessings and curses of the internet and the exposure to all of the information that we have available to us. We have so much information that could be used for good and to help us. Yet, we watch, people farting into microphones on TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
which
Listen,
farts are funny.
They're funny, but
It's one of those
the
things.
scale
that you're
of
just
things of mattering.
But the personal accounts, when you get to talk to those people face to face, is you can't replicate it. Even if you have it on video, but hearing those stories is always amazing. They were the greatest generation for a reason. And could you think of guys like Bob Feller and Ted Williams, who were? Could you imagine Mike Trout is just like, you know what? Going off to fight in World War II, goes off for 3 years, is a decorated pilot, and then comes back and hits 400 like Ted Williams.
I'm glad you didn't say Shohei Ohtani.
Come on. And there's the side of the mountain. Come on, man. Come on. But could you imagine? Could you imagine that happening today?
And nobody could. Remember Pat Tillman? Pat Tillman was Ted Williams was Teddy freaking Ballgame. You imagine being in a trench and seeing Ted Williams, and you're a Yankees fan?
He'd be flying over.
Oh yeah, sure. He was
flying
pilot,
over. Yeah, but
like,
that's an interesting one. Like, imagine you're a Yankee fan, and you're sitting there in the cockpit next to Ted Williams, being like, it's gonna be real hard to hate you when I get home.
Yeah,
you know, like
that,
that guy becomes a Sox fan for life.
Or you go like full Wahlberg and go full Yankee Clipper, but instead you go Red Sox Clipper. Just
from the other guys.
Yeah, just cap him in the knee.
Oh man,
He was never the same after that.
He was never the same. The Yankee Clipper.
It's weird. His last name was Costanza.
You shot Derek Jeter. It was dark. That scene in The Other Guys, it gets me every damn time.
Oh God, yes.
All right. Well, let's get to it. We've got a lot that we need to get to. NBA Finals start tonight. We've got some NFL news, notes, and nugs as 2 first-round pick quarterbacks are playing the role of backups, and people seem to be freaking out about that right now. A little too early. And we got some college football notes. It's going to be expensive if you want to go watch Oregon and Ohio State.
Yeesh.
Oh, whoa, Nelly. But where we got to start this bad boy off, Blazers brought in a solo workout today. The first of the solo workouts for the Portland Trail Blazers, and Dalton Roundhouse kicked his way right into Rip City. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
It's
draft process today at the practice facility in Tualatin. You were there, Mr. Meringue.
Indeed, it was.
And it was Dalton Knecht, the sharpshooter out of the University of Tennessee.
Previously of Northern Colorado.
Yeah, he went from the Rockies to Rocky Top.
Indeed. Great interview. Surprisingly, he, even though he's about 6'6", felt longer, rangier kind of guy. This will probably scare some people, but he kind of reminded me of Luke Babbitt when I first met him, in the sense of like, oh, you're bigger than I thought. Like he plays bigger, but he also just like feels bigger in general. Like
Babbitt was a big dude.
Yeah, Babbitt was 6'8".
Look, there are guys that have that presence, right? There's guys that are bigger that play small, and then there's guys at 6'6" who can play bigger. And you just look at Dalton Knecht, and it was always like his release is really high, right? If you look at all the pictures of him, like the still shots of him shooting, he does kind of have that plays bigger, but I guess it's encouraging that he looks bigger.
Yeah, and
because a 6'6" small combo small forward.
He's a 2-3 for sure. For those that don't know, he was at Northern Colorado. He went into the draft process last year, and they're like, "Hey, man, look, you did well. We appreciate you, but you did it at Northern Colorado. Like it's the same kind of questions you have about Dame when he comes out after 4 years at Weber State. Can he do it at the next level? Well, yeah, if you run 10,000 pick and rolls and you lead the country in scoring, you're the most efficient pick and roll player in college basketball history. It's probably going to translate.
Yeah. That was Dame, by the way.
That was Dame, yeah. And
that's not Dalton Knecht.
No.
That's not Dalton
But
Knecht.
Dalton Knecht was very good and very efficient and went to Tennessee. SEC probably had the best conference in basketball this year.
Yeah.
Through up and down.
Yeah.
And they fell on their face from the NCAA tournament. But
Big East went, no, we still got it.
yeah. But top to bottom, I mean, SEC play was nasty, gritty, and he was their offense. Like that was how their offense went. Bruce Pearl said, "Go cook."
Rick Barnes.
I said Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, you did.
Sorry.
Former Tennessee coach Bruce Pearl.
Still in my brain.
Yeah. He's in the SEC. He's at Auburn.
Yes, I have the orange chest paint still in my head. I can't unsee that. But Knecht is a guy who went to the next level and went, all right, bet. Yeah. And from there, he was able to deliver. If you're looking for the profile for him, he is a guy who he's going to tick a lot of the white guy boxes, but he's more of a, let's go down this road. He's more of a Tyler Hero than a Gordon Hayward. Stylistically.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That does.
We're not bowl cut. Okay. We got a little more swag to us. Okay. Yeah. But in college last year at Tennessee, averaged almost 22, 5, and 2. Okay. He had a near 30% usage rate, 29.8, which that's a lot. It's a lot.
I think for the normal person, they're like, I have no idea what that means.
Scaling wise, that means you're doing everything. And his assist rate at 13.4 is lower, which means he's running and gunning. He is scoring, which is why you saw him have multiple 30 and 40-point games in college basketball, which that's not, like, I know we've seen these scoring explosions in the NBA. That's not normal in college. We haven't had that since, like, Mike Beasley.
Okay, and this is one of the, another name that you don't want to hear in the draft process.
Well, no, as a prospect, look, Beasley was crazy.
He was crazy.
Talent-wise, he was through the roof.
Okay. One thing, though, that you have questions about a guy who at the college level is not a point guard but has the ball in his hands that much, is he going to be able to be a guy where he translates to the NBA and with his ability to shoot, can he be the catch and shoot, spot up shooter moving away from the ball effectively?
Yes. And I actually asked him about the, did he learn anything going from Northern Colorado to Tennessee? That jump in competitiveness, that jump in level of play, and can he apply it to the NBA? And he's like, yeah, I think that's a pretty instructive process. It's like, I showed that not only can I do it, I can excel at it. And I followed it up with, well, this draft, a lot of people talk about it as some sort of, glue guy, rotation player. There are no stars in this draft. Are you looking at telling teams like, look, I know you want X, Y, and Z, but I can be more. I look at the production I just had. I used Dylan Jones as an example when he was in town the other day. I asked him essentially the same question. Like, Dylan Jones was 20-10-5. You were 22-5-2 on crazy efficiency, where you didn't have a lot of other help around you offensively. Are you telling teams like, look, yes, I'll do whatever I need to do to get on the court, but also I could cook? Because that's the thing is like, there's going to be somebody out of this class where he goes, oh, this guy's a role player. This guy's a role player. Well, I don't think you're looking at him like Duncan Robinson. Like, and I know it's easy to make the trope like, oh, white guy shooter, off ball. Like, this dude had on ball juice. Like, he was creating for him. Like, you're not looking at Dalton like, I don't know about his, like Jared McCain. You're like, I don't know about his handle. He can shoot the hell out of the ball. I don't know if he's like a real creation guy. Dalton Connect was hezzy tween 40 a night type stuff for like a 2-week period at Tennessee, where he was just nuking the country.
And then therein lies that question that I was asking is, all right, you have that, but in the NBA stylistically, where he won't be the 1 or 2 option, can he be the guy that has that in his bag, but is still as effective when he's not with the ball in his hand?
I think so, and I think
because in a perfect world, you don't want a Dalton Connect to have the ball in his hand as much as he had it at Tennessee.
No.
And guys change. Like, we've seen guys that go to the NBA, and it's like, well, if he's not ball dominant, then he's doesn't have it.
And that's the thing is he can play off ball. Tennessee just didn't have the capacity to really set him up. And that's the thing is I look at him and I go, I think he's going to fit in entirely well. Sprague loves him. Brandon and I have debated this back and forth on Jack Ramsey's. The whole idea of like he wants something I know this is a feeling among Blazers fans. They want something nice and safe and tangible. I want to count on this. I want this shiny thing that's going to be good. Like, I know it's good. There's likely a ceiling to it. I like Dalton. I think he's probably, outside of Alex Sarr, maybe Reed Shepherd, the safest pick in the lottery, because he can shoot the hell out of the ball. He can create, and is he the best athlete on the planet? No. But is his athleticism limited? No. Is he a terrible defender? No. Like, he's entirely passable. But what he does do well.
That's like 15 years of Blazers basketball. Defense, entirely passable.
No, I'm just saying, like, if he's not, like, here's the thing. Most guys in the NBA aren't good defenders. Like, when you talk about, like, the scaling of, like, the difference between how good Drew Holiday is at the top versus, like, your average defender, it's a chasm. And we don't talk about it that way. It's like, no. He's a savant defensively. And then there's, like, everybody else. Like, the value gained and gleaned from, like, Drew Holiday is massive. But it's not it's not as easily quantifiable as this man hit 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's where a lot of this comes from. So Connect is a guy who I would be okay with them taking at 14. He will not last to 14. He's just his range is actually
because of the safety that you're talking about.
Because, like, when you look at this draft, like, I don't know, he's safe. He gets buckets, he shoots 3, and he's got not necessarily plus size. If he's a 2, he's got plus size. Like, if he's a 6'6" 2 guard, then he when I asked about him, like, what else he could do in the NBA, he's like, honestly, I think I could play the 1. Like, I could run your offense. Which if all of a sudden he becomes kind of like your bench initiator and his shooting gravity is the thing that kind of makes things easier for everyone else, you might have a little something there.
Well, and I think that there's an importance on that when you get into a tempo style game and teams are running on you and having the ability to just get the ball in and get the ball up the floor. No matter what, or in transition, have a guy who can still initiate your offense and not be the point guard, you know?
Having multiple points of initiation is a huge thing. It is something this team has needed for a long time.
Yep.
I will look, Phil Beckner
and we say that without, like, when CJ and Dame would be on the floor, it would be, if CJ would bring it up, it would be dribble.
Those aren't initiators. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, you look at that and you go, okay, who are the guys? Like, Evan Turner is initiator. Like, the problem is that the Dame CJ stuff was already so funky that it added I don't even want to call it a square peg because Evan's just his own different beast, but having like a
undefinable shape is Evan Turner.
Yes. But like a Kyle Anderson, Boris Diaw, Hell, Mike Conley is an initiator and gatherer, but like the offense runs through Anthony Edwards. But when they play like crap, it's because Mike Conley's not on the floor. Like you need to have an organizer / initiator, and that is something that they have struggled to get. Josh Hart was a guy who works as that, and he does that in New York. He's not like running everything, but if all of a sudden the ball swings to the second side or he grabs a rebound and goes, you don't worry about Josh. Hey, Josh, get Jalen the ball now. No, you trust him to get him into your stuff and to exploit a mismatch or get down the floor and start the offense earlier. And the Blazers need that on the second side and additional creation and shooting. So again, if Dalton did fall to 14, totally okay with it.
But you're not using 7 on him.
I wouldn't. I think you need to swing bigger at that point.
And look, with the Topic injury, right, yesterday, that 7 to 14 range is going to be wonky, man.
Honestly, I heard that the Charlotte Hornets are chasing Reed Shepherd, which they're at 6. Reed's probably going top 4. So are they looking to move around, or is Reed going to fall back?
And that was going to be my follow-up is, could you see the Blazers saying, all right, we know he's not going to be there at 14. Is there going to be room to move up and get him? Utah's not moving out of 10. Memphis isn't moving out of 9 in all likelihood.
Well, Memphis might move up if they want Klingon.
You're looking at like 11. Would he be there in that 11 range, or
that's probably his floor?
Utah kind of seems like a team that if he would be there, they would.
I firmly believe that if Cody Williams is there, they're going to take Cody.
Yeah.
That very much seems to be I shouldn't say consensus, but that's the feel right now. So this draft is shaking up to be pretty, it's not the same high-level talent at the very top, but it's starting to get pretty spicy behind the scenes as far as like what teams are looking at and what's happening. And I'll have some stuff to share as it pertains to the draft process probably tomorrow afternoon as well. So.
Okay. Ooh. Oh. And then we got another solo workout coming in tomorrow.
Yes.
For the Blazers, that they keep all of this very tightly guarded.
Mm-hmm.
So we will find out. Are you going to be there tomorrow?
Maybe.
Maybe there. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see what's happening on that side of things. There's been some shifts, as it were, in how workouts are being done in this cycle, not just with the Blazers, but around the entire NBA.
Oh, so when you say that leads me to believe agent-led. Yeah. Little protection being put up by the agents there.
A lot of agents are trying to control where things are going right now because things are so uncertain, and that's what leads me to partially believe why things are getting so spicy behind the scenes.
Oh, I like it.
It's fun.
I like it.
It's
Here
getting
comes
interesting.
the drama. Well, we are 3 weeks from today of the first. Remember Thursday?
Yeah,
Thursday, day 1 of the NBA Finals today. The way that the NBA Finals go, we'll have is it 5 days? And Sunday would be game 7 of next week, right? Next weekend, not this weekend, but the following weekend. So then you're looking at like a 5-day window there between finals ending, NBA draft starting.
Yeah, if it went 7.
Wow, that's crazy.
Which I've heard that workouts might go on until like a day before the draft.
Wow. All right.
So
let's buckle up, Buttercup.
Like I said, it's that last mock that comes out like Tuesday or Wednesday. That very last mock, particularly from ESPN, because they're the ones that are Givany and Wu are the ones that are getting the order right, as opposed to mock boards. That's going to be really interesting because we've had like 1 or 2 guys here or there. The Paolo Banchero stuff last year, where a particular news broker may or may not have made some money. Bless you.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
May or may not have been talking about particular changes that did or didn't take place while being brought to you by a certain gambling company.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
You may remember the Hornets are looking at Scoot Henderson at number 2. Yeah. That maybe that tweet that you're talking about. Yeah. Speaking of him, he tweeted out, not Scoot, Shams Charania tweeted out last week that
he had a whole video yesterday.
JJ Redick is the guy for the Lakers. Today, Woj goes, not so fast, my friend. He Lee Corso'd this. We'll get to that after Schulte with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, Game 1 of the NBA Finals set for tonight in Boston between the Dallas Mavericks and Celtics. Center Kristaps Porzingis available for Boston after missing 10 games with a strained right calf. The Celtics a 6.5-point favorite. Coverage getting going over on 910 ESPN at 4:30. Tip-off set for 5:30 on ABC. Big news in the NBA as well today. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, the Los Angeles Lakers are preparing a massive offer for back-to-back NCAA champion coach of the UConn Huskies, Dan Hurley. The two sides have reportedly already had preliminary discussions. The first-place Seattle Mariners facing off against the Oakland A's in the rubber match of the series, actually in just a couple of minutes. Brian Wu and J.B. Sears on the bump. You can catch all the action on Root Sports. The Memorial Tournament, which was moved this year so it could be a signature event, happening right now in Dublin, Ohio. Looks like your leader still sitting atop is Adam Hadwin through 17, 7 under par. Scotty Scheffler already in the clubhouse through the day, second place right now at 5 under. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan.
Victoricos features fresh, authentic Mexican food made from scratch. Hey, it's Doug.
All right, so we heard Shams Charania last week gave us the J.J. Redick to the Lakers. Done deal, finalizing that plan. J.J. Redick came out on Monday during, I don't know what show he was on, but he said, look, we'll address it once the finals are over, and we'll see what's going on. Not a non-denial of him getting the Lakers job, but it was one of those ones where it's like, oh, okay. All right, we'll see here. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN pulled the not so fast, my friend. And he dropped a bombshell on the day of the NBA Finals. Remember, we talked about this, or I guess it was on Tuesday that that the news broke, right? Where I was like, no. LeBron is going to be very mad that this came out on Tuesday, not Thursday, because he wanted to dominate the NBA Finals. Well, here we are, day one of the NBA Finals, and the Lakers are dominating the conversation. Here's Woj.
The Los Angeles Lakers are preparing a massive long-term offer for Connecticut Huskies coach Dan Hurley. He is the target of their search. He's been the target of the Lakers search since the beginning. The sides have had preliminary contact, I'm told, and those conversations are expected to escalate. Dan Hurley has shown a willingness to listen to the Lakers on what a Hurley-Lakers partnership would look like. The NBA has been an ambition of his. He has talked about it. And the chance to hear out the Lakers, which is certainly the mountaintop of coaching at any level, is something he's going to do now in the coming days.
The mountaintop of coaching at any level. Excuse me while I take a header off a very tall bridge. Good God.
I mean, it is.
No, it's not.
I hate the Los Angeles Lakers.
Nobody wants that job.
With the fire of 1,000 suns.
Darvin Ham's the apex of coaching?
No, it is a coveted job because of the prestige of the Lakers organization. I wouldn't want it now, especially when you look at what they have in front of them. It is mind-blowing to see the financial situation that they are in.
And the capital that they have going forward.
They have $183.3 million committed in salary this year. That is withholds to free agents LeBron James and D'Angelo Russell. Okay? Now, think of this. They have the cap holds for D'Lo and LeBron. If JJ Redick is the guy LeBron wants, and they go Dan Hurley instead, and LeBron's like, I wanted my guy. What if LeBron packs his bags and goes back to Cleveland?
It is a strong reality or a strong proposition that could happen in the sense of...
Guess what team doesn't have a coach right now? Yeah. The Cavaliers, and JJ Redick could get that job.
Well, not just that. There's also the... Did you notice that... Mark Stein put this out yesterday. JJ Redick didn't vote for Anthony Davis on any of his all-defensive teams.
Oh.
And there's been rumblings that Anthony Davis is not happy because J.J. Redick is going to be a coach, and he prefers James Borrego because of his relationships with him as a Pelican when Borrego was an assistant with the Pelicans in his rookie year. It's like, this is how petulant and child and petty and all the little, like, this is the minutia of everything. It was like, oh, that stuff doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Like, we just saw Billy Donovan get his kid hired as the G League assistant coach, or the G League head coach for the Windy City Bulls in Chicago. Rodney Billups was on the staff here with Chauncey Billups. Like those relationships, those connections, Jamal Mosley was who Luka wanted as to be a head coach before Kidd. Mm-hmm. And he was not thrilled when they hired Jason Kidd, and they kind of threw it. And now they're in the NBA Finals. Mosley's successful in Orlando. But like, this kind of stuff happens all of the time. The interesting thing about Hurley, though, is the way it's being caveated is like this cloak and dagger thing that the Lakers planned all the way through. I highly doubt that the organization that can't tie its own shoes without falling face first into stupid publicity was able to execute this behind the scenes.
Well, here's how Woj is explaining why the Lakers are pursuing Dan Hurley.
The Lakers have been relentless, I'm told, in their pursuit of Hurley. And now they're going to get a chance, to extensively lay out to him the vision they see for bringing Dan Hurley's program to the NBA. And that's what the Lakers are after here, I'm told, is putting in place a legacy coach with a long-term deal and allow Dan Hurley to come to LA and put in place a system, put in place a real long-term vision with Pelinka. Dan Hurley has become the most sought-after coach at any level of basketball. He was not willing to listen to any college jobs, after winning that second championship, but he is willing to listen to the Lakers.
Oh, okay. They want a legacy coach who will bring his college style to the NBA. Mm-hmm. This is always the big question is, We saw Brad Stevens was able to translate from college to the NBA.
Mhm.
There are very few that make that leap from college to professional sports,
Most of
and
them
it
are
is a
good.
seamless transition. Does Dan Hurley?
The red ass of Danny Hurley chewing LeBron James out. Everyone's like, oh, LeBron likes to be coached. And I'm just like, does he? Does 40-year-old LeBron James like to be coached?
LeBron tells you he likes that.
There's a clip going around on social media today of Dan Hurley screaming at his team to get the huddle in, get the huddle closer to me. You think that would actually work with LeBron?
No,
really?
and that's the thing. It's like, what's interesting about this to me is that this could just be a shot across the bow of LeBron. Like, even if they hire JJ, it's not going to be all about you, man. Look, we're looking beyond you.
And we see the damage control that the Lakers, they do this from time to time, whether it's with the free agent signing or head coach, because we have had quite a few head coaches in LA over the last handful of years.
And they were not legacy coaches. They weren't the biggest, sexiest names. Darvin Ham, Frank Vogel. Like, you just go to they have not had a coach like that since Phil.
And here's the thing, though, about what they do is a name gets leaked, JJ Redick. Then they do the damage control because there is like you're going to have a guy who's never coached before, and then you throw out the other name, whether it is Dan Hurley or somebody else.
Previously it was James Borrego. Like, no, we're still interviewing James Borrego.
And then you kind of go down this line of, all right, when the dust settles, where are we going to end with this? Because the prevailing thought around league circles since Darvin Ham was fired, is that JJ Redick was going to have a legitimate shot and was the choice of LeBron James to be the next head coach of the Lakers. How many times does LeBron not get his way?
Very seldomly.
Very seldomly.
And there's another line to this that's interesting, at least, is that who's in charge in LA? Because there's long been thoughts that Kurt Rambis and his wife and their ties to Jeannie Buss have been pulling a lot of strings behind the scenes because the Rambi, as it were, have been a part of the Laker lore and franchise. Like they have more power than anybody truly imagines in that organization.
Again, the Lakers are one of the preeminent names in the NBA.
And they're
in
run
professional
like a mom
sports.
and pop shop.
That is 100% what they are and what they always have been. Since Dr. Jack Buss took that thing over, or Jerry Buss.
Jim.
What? Jim Buss?
Yeah.
Jim, then Jerry?
Yeah.
Did Jerry's his kid?
Yeah.
That got exiled?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Dr.
Jack got stuck in my head.
It is worth pointing out that, and thanks to the Vancouver Ford texter.
I have it backwards. Excuse me, Jerry.
Jerry,
Jim
okay.
kid.
Jerry,
Yeah.
and then Jim's
Yeah.
kid. Okay, got it.
It's okay. I screwed that one up too.
Swenson,
Yeah.
Swanson, Samsonite.
God, I was way off.
Ostracized children in will proceedings.
Yeah.
And no, thanks to the Vancouver Ford texter for pointing this out, that there was a quote from Brian Windhorst on ESPN this morning and a tweet about it, talking about how LeBron essentially told the Lakers, and this is sources telling Windhorst this, to make the hire that they want and not to base the hire on him. We don't know if that's true because that is literally the opposite of how he's acted to this point in his career. So,
Yeah, and look, this is the thing with LeBron. He always says the right thing.
And then he's also the living embodiment of the meme of, you go in there and make this about you.
Like he was asked about the NBA Finals, and he said, "I miss Kyrie. I love Kyrie," and he went, "We, and it was
We,
just
me,
like,
me. How can I make this about
Yeah.
me? Let's bring it full circle
But-
back to about me.
But that is part of the cultivated image of LeBron James is that he does have an elite awareness of what people want to hear. And he gives people what they want to hear. But as very powerful and successful people do, they tell you people what they want to hear.
And then they do completely otherwise.
And then they will go back, and once they are given the amount of power that a person LeBron James has been given by every team, with the exception of Pat Riley and the Miami Heat,
even then, he tried to exercise it.
you go behind the scenes and you still find a way to get your way. And LeBron very may well say, find the guy you want for the next 10 years because I know I don't have a lot of tread left on my tires. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm getting really close to it. He may say that. But you know what LeBron is going to do? after if they do hire who they want to, he is going to get every single player that he wants on that franchise. They better be on that roster or his ass is gone. And he will go back to Cleveland. He'll go, I don't know where else LeBron, Philly?
Wherever Bronny goes.
LeBron goes to Philly or wherever Bronny goes. And he's going to be gone. Like that. That's hard for me to see how he's going to play this game.
It's hard for me to see him saying no to $50 million, but we'll see.
Well, he's got like $1 billion contract with Nike.
Yeah, can he make
Lifetime.
that up in half a second?
He probably could.
I mean, it's still
Space Jam 3 coming your way.
still better to not give up $50 million.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody wants that $50 million. Everybody wants that 50.
Even if it's spread out over 50 years.
Hell, maybe he wants to get out of Southern California because of the mansion tax. Have you seen the mansion tax? The mansion tax is like if your home is over valued over $4 million,
Which every house in
or $5 million, it's a 4% tax. But if it's over $15 million, it's at 5.5%. It's to the point where Jim Carrey listed his mansion for like $28.5 million. He has taken $7 million off his asking price because he just wants out of it. Maybe LeBron wants out of the mansion tax.
There you go.
He wants out of LA. People aren't talking about the mansion tax enough.
That's just insane. You imagine paying 7% or 5% a year on $25 million?
Yeah, it wouldn't be great. Wouldn't be great. That's why Jim Carrey's trying to sell his house.
And that's why you rent your house out to Prince.
And he paints the whole thing purple. Was that Carlos Boozer?
Carlos Boozer, still one of the craziest stories of all time. I let him rent in my house to Prince for summer.
All right. The other part of this, which you brought up, could be a leverage play by Danny Hurley, too, getting his name in this conversation and throwing it out there and saying, back up the Brinks truck because you ain't paying Jim Mora Jr. to coach the football team.
There's nobody in there that you're paying other than him and Gino Auriemma. And the donors and stores, they will pile up cash for him. Just get the Nick Saban clause, man.
Get that Saban. Whoever's the highest paid coach,
I'm more.
Me.
Yeah.
Always going to be me.
Always going to be me.
All right. 503-864-6326. That is the Vancouver Ford text line. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com. Hey, why don't we stay in the NBA really quick before we get to the top of the hour, where we'll talk a little bit of finals in the 1 o'clock hour. Because game one is tonight. Is TNT? Are they gone? Are they dead? Next on The Fan.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to
Prime Time with Isaac and Sue.
I think all that Broncos
over the TNT NBA life together.
Indeed.
$77 million, $76 million or $billion deal
Billion.
over 11 seasons, which does not include TNT. On the surface was reported and widely reported as being a done deal yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we
Not
are
so fast,
finding
my
out.
friends.
Warner Brothers Discovery is in negotiations to secure a fourth, smaller media rights package, according to Front Office Sports.
Gonna go full Dave Chappelle and sprinkle a little crack on him. You know, just
What?
just a little, find a little something here on the end.
I don't know what. It would be great. I don't know what it would look like because you're not getting these standalone Tuesday, Thursday night games that
No.
they've had. But what does this like? What would a fourth tier of NBA media rights look like if it's Warner Brothers Discovery that is under the TNT umbrella? What would we be seeing this look like?
Essentially, they'd be buying inventory from a local team, whatever local team they ended up pulling the game from that week of that group, whatever day it is.
So it would be similar to what we see on NBA TV.
Yes.
Where, like,
Game
if
of the
they were to
week.
pull a Blazer game, it would be Calabro and Lamar doing the play-by-play, and the studio show would exist out of Atlanta, be Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, and Charles.
Some version of that.
Okay.
Yes. That's at least what I've been told.
All I want is a studio show.
Yeah.
I mean, you could give me any play-by-play. Well, I'm going to pump my brakes on that. You could give me a play-by-play.
You can
crew.
give me at least 24 different play-by-play crews in the NBA.
And then, as long as we have those guys, they would be great, and it would be fantastic to see. And
I'm glad to see that they're fighting for it, that they're just not going to roll over and play dead.
and I love that the NBA is like, you know what? We'll allow you to pay us more money.
Fine, I guess.
But this comes to a point, though, where, all right, let's lay it out there then. Who has media rights to the NBA now? ESPN,
NBC Universal.
ABC, NBC. And NBC Universal, we could be seeing games on Peacock or, hell, USA if they want to throw games on USA, because that's what they do with their Premier League stuff.
And then you've got streaming services.
And then
So,
you have Amazon as well.
spending a fortune. Be prepared for a very much Thursday night football centric style broadcast. I would not be shocked if Amazon became the preeminent home for the NBA because, unlike ESPN, they care about the product.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll actually talk about and promote the game, and you won't have people who don't know anything about the game hosting a show about it.
Oh, damn. Who is that on ESPN?
Every halftime show.
Oh, dang. That's harsh. But it's fair because I don't watch it.
Michael Wilbon, a guy you go to for NBA coverage nowadays.
No.
Stephen A. Smith on the ground covering every team. Look, I love Mike Greenberg. Is he a NBA guy through and through, or is he a New York guy through and through?
New York guy through and through.
So you've got Chicago guy
And Northwestern.
Well, yeah, but there you go. So you have two Chicago guys and two New York guys in that group.
And that's the thing is I do appreciate out of TNT's coverage of the NBA is that when they bring somebody, they are. And then when they bring somebody in on the periphery, it's Chris Haynes.
Yeah. Dyed in the wool NBA guys. Like, they're not part-timers at the big organization, got to justify their multi-million-dollar contracts. No, their multi-million-dollar contracts are this.
Yeah.
And so
and the guys that they will bring in, like Charles Barkley, to me, he's not in the thick of it day to day.
No.
But you know what he is?
He's one of one.
He's entertaining as hell. And like ESPN tries to give us Stephen A. Smith, like everybody's entertained by the stuff that he says when a large majority of the people watch him and just roll their eyes at him.
You know when the last time was that I tuned in for a halftime show?
Huh.
Can't tell you.
Oh.
On ESPN.
Wow. Well, tonight?
Is Legs on it?
No.
If Legs is on, I'll pay attention.
I don't think it is. I was just watching they're at the finals. They're in Boston right now.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't care what Bob Myers has to say.
Hey, let's get into the NBA finals though. Non Stephen A. Smith. We got the Celtics and Mavericks tonight. Got it tonight. Game 1 NBA finals. Let's start taking a dive into it. little bit further than we have before. We've heard from our friend Kirk Henderson of Mavs Moneyball. We've heard from John Corrales from the Locked On Celtics podcast and the Boston Sports Journal. Let's start taking this series apart. Boston, Dallas, game 1 tonight. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Plywood stocks all kinds of cedar for building your own raised beds. And the experts at Mr. Plywood can even give you advice and tips so that you can enjoy fresh homegrown vegetables all summer long. Serving the greater Portland area for over 50 years. Online
My father-in-law, he's a guy that can do everything.
Oh, gotcha.
Dude, just installed installed a new air conditioning unit.
That's not normal. Like HVAC work is not.
No, like he can do it all. He can do it all.
Okay.
I mean, that's what that's what he did for.
Oh, so he's an HVAC. He was an HVAC guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yes.
To an
He's
extent.
done all of it.
Sure.
He pick up those skills on YouTube?
No.
I say those are not normal things you do.
But I mean, he owned a commercial refrigeration company and built houses and stuff. So he's got a particular set of skills.
General contractor. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a particular set of skills that I wish I had. And then he was explaining to me what he did, and I was like, nope, don't know it. Gonna trust it. You know, he's got all of his gauges and pumps and all that stuff. And I'm like, you just have this laying around your house? He's like, yeah. I'm like, damn. All right. You know exactly what you're doing. So shout outs to him because it's hot today. And guess what we need in our house? Air conditioning.
Look, as somebody who had their AC unit go out during that 113 to 15 degree summer, I wanted to die.
I can't believe that.
I had 3 window units going in the house, and I could barely keep the house below 82 degrees.
Danny got home, and the entire neighborhood's electricity went.
Let me take that back. I had a regular window unit, and then I had 2 of the stand-up.
Yeah.
Monster ones.
Where you just have them like in one room, and like you're like, we're not leaving this room.
Right. The living room to like, there's one in the laundry room, one in the living room, like cooling the majority of the house, and then one pipe directly into our bedroom with the door closed.
As long as you got one where you can sit right in front of it, that's okay.
Yeah. We had a day in college where it was like 100 degrees, and our house didn't have AC. And so we had wood floors, though. And we were all we had a buddy come over, and all of us are laying on the floor. And we're like playing Xbox. And he's like, "What are you guys doing?" Like, it's cold down. It's cooler down here. Can't get up. Can't do it. I'm glad I'm done with those days. Gotta get creative in college. Though.
I don't know how people survive without AC. I feel bad.
All right. We don't need it all that often here, but when we do, boy, we need it. We need it. All right. NBA Finals get going tonight. Game 1, Boston, Dallas. And this series, there's so much intrigue. I'm really excited for it. It has star power in Luka Doncic. It has star power in Kyrie Irving. It has 2 guys in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown that are trying to erase all of the ills of their young careers to this point, where I don't know if we have a duo that has had this much success instantly in their career without getting to the mountaintop, right? Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, we think of guys like Steph and Clay. It took them a few years to get going. And when you think of like even a duo like Stockton and Malone, it wasn't just instantly in the NBA Finals.
No, these guys were there.
These guys got to the conference championship in the NBA Finals.
All because the Nets were dumb.
Yeah. Well, yes, and they're really damn good players too.
Well, no, but the team was very good to begin with.
Well, they got the number 3 pick because in Jason Tatum falling to the Celtics, just what, and then, but we haven't had this happen to where we see these guys get to that instantaneously. You're a top seed in your conference. You're going to multiple conference finals, and these guys are. This is their 6th year in the league?
No.
For Tatum, it's his 7th? Because
he's only 17 and 18 drafts, so 6th and 7th years.
6th and 7th, 6 years together, though, with Tatum and Brown, because 17 was Tatum, 18 was Brown.
16, 17.
They came into
Jaylen, then Jason, yeah.
They came into the league as puppies, and they have been successful almost every single year. They had, 2 down years there?
I mean,
1?
What's your definition of down year?
Well, they had 1 stinker of a season, didn't they? I think. But outside of that, these guys, in what is the knock on them? They don't have what it takes to get over the hump and get to the mountaintop. Well, this year, you insert Kristaps Porzingis, you insert Jrue Holiday, and Porzingis, who went down with that calf strain in the first round. Now we're looking at Kristaps Porzingis not even on the injury report. Clean bill of health. Full go in everything for the Boston Celtics. is this the year that they can finally get over the hump? That's exciting to me as we head into the NBA Finals.
The lowest win total they have had since Jalen got there is 36, where they went 500 in the COVID year.
Yeah.
So they have
Oh,
won
wait. 36 in the COVID year where they played, what, 50?
72.
Or 72
Yes,
games?
They went 500. They've never been below 500. So they are 53-29, 55-27, 49, 48, 36, 51, 57. So if you take out the COVID year, the least amount of wins they've had with them is 48.
That's incredible start to their careers.
That's one of the
And
best
I
starts
don't care-
probably ever.
I don't care if you're in the East.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like,
It's still insane.
they have taken care of their business, and this year it was utter dominance from start to finish of the regular season. And really in this playoffs too. They've lost 2 playoff games. As of right now, they're 12-2 in the playoffs.
Think about this. Jaylen Brown is rookie year. Let's go evaluating rookie years. 20-year-old Jaylen Brown averaged 6.6 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 0.8 assists, and shot 45, 34, 69.
That's wild.
For reference, Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, Al Horford, Marcus Smart. Those were your starters. I'm sorry, Amir Johnson started. Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah. But again,
And it
Jaylen Brown, as a 20-year-old rookie, did nothing.
did nothing for them.
So they came into an organization, and Al Horford was on that team then. He's gone and come back from 2 different teams. Oklahoma
all right.
City and Philly.
Philly, yeah. It's not a bad run. It's not a bad run that they've been on.
Not too shabby.
What are we expecting in game 1? Because game 1s can get sideways, and everybody has an overreaction to this is how the series will be. Do you expect the Dallas Mavericks to throw that haymaker in game 1? Because we have that Russ versus Russ. It's been a week, but it's been even longer for the Boston Celtics. You know, the Celtics have they handle the Indiana Pacers, and they have not played a game, Boston, in what, a week and a half, 10 days? Is that where we're at with the Boston Celtics? In 10 days since they played their last game? Do we see maybe a slow start, or what do you expect in game 1 tonight between Boston and Dallas?
I think this is a straight-up situation where you're not going to get too much. I think it's pretty vanilla from both teams. And what's interesting here is not the rest versus rust necessarily for either team. It's the reintegration of Kristaps Porzingis. That, to me, is going to be the interesting thing here, is because you've basically gone through the playoffs establishing a pecking order and a process. And it's not like it's like, oh, my God, we have to figure out how to play with him. But you do have to kind of change some things out, and how you're going to go about things, and how those rotations are going to change. And it's nothing you can't overcome. But I think it's simpler and less pressure, so to speak. When we had Kirk on, the whole idea that the Mavs don't win game 1. The Mavs are probably going in there like, let's go in. And they're trying to win every game, obviously. But they're probably going in there like, all right, let's go in with our vanilla coverages, see what we get, and see if we can steal game 2.
And that's what we were talking about yesterday with everybody is expecting all of these dramatic lineup changes, especially on the defensive end of the
cross
floor.
matches, yeah.
When with Dallas and the matchups that they are looking at, because it has been floated, is Gafford and Lively, are they actually going to be the ones defending Drew Holiday, the point guard? You have 5 guarding your 1 on the other end of the floor. I think that what we probably see coming out in game 1 is exactly what you're talking about. We know what the 7-game series formula is. Game 1, you feel each other out. Game 2, that road team goes and they throw the first true counterpunch to try to see if they can steal that home court back. Game 3 and game 4 then becomes the team with the home court advantage tries to throw their counters and turn the tides to where, all right, it's not a series until somebody wins on the road.
Dun, dun, dun,
You try to get that in game 3 and game 4 by the team with home court advantage, and that's where you really and truly start seeing coaching is pronounced in games 3 and 4, and then all of a sudden games 5, 6, and 7, that's where it comes to the dogs got to carry you. You got to get your dogs on the floor.
I'm really interested to see what version of the Celtics show up tonight, in the sense of who puts their foot down, and if they've learned from falling short the last 2 years.
Okay, game 1 so far against Miami, they won by 20.
Mhm.
Against Cleveland, they won by 25.
Mhm.
Against Indiana, they won by 5 in overtime.
Hey, that was dicey.
That was an ugly game, but that was also one of those games where it's like all of the sound and all of the noise was Boston is just going to skate through this because Indiana struggled with New York, and New York was banged up beyond recognition. And so they were like, oh, they're just going to ease through this. And what did Indiana do? They came out and said, no, this is going to be our chance. If we're going to steal home court, we're going to do it right now. They were still unable to do it. And then you add Kristaps Porzingis into the mix, where if you look at the dominance with which, Boston has been winning these games in these series, I mean, it's not like when they win, they're winning running away largely.
Because if they hit shots, there's just nothing you can do.
Now you add Kristaps Porzingis to that, and does that go from a team that's playing with their food to putting their foot down on the gas and just pedal to the metal the whole way?
That chess match with what they do with Porzingis and what Porzingis does defensively, I think, is the single biggest decider in this series.
How much Porzingis can play. And look, it's alarming when you hear Kristaps Porzingis say, hey, what's your minutes restriction? How do you feel you're going to be able to play? And he goes, I don't know. I haven't played in a month.
Yeah, we got to see what happens.
It's over a month. We're going on week 6 since he got hurt. I mean, it's been a really long time since he's been out on the floor. If you can get 20 to 25 minutes, that's
a win.
You're feeling really damn good about it. Feeling really good about it. I'm excited. Game 1, 5:30 tip on ABC, ESPN tonight. The NBA Finals get going in Boston, in Beantown. 503-864-6326. That is the Vancouver Ford text line. Coming up next, let's go to a little bit of football here, huh?
Oh.
Yeah. How much are you willing to pay to get in the door for Oregon and Ohio State? Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Yeah, yeah. They got a good home schedule this year. They have 7 home games, and including Idaho, Boise State, which Boise State is by many believed to be the Group of 5 team that will be the college football playoff party crasher. Boise State, which also Oregon fans you know all too well, looking for that win against Boise. You know, they've been a thorn in the side of the Oregon Ducks for many years. Then you have Michigan State with Jonathan Smith's return to the state of Oregon. And he and the Michigan State Spartans with Aiden Childs will come to Autzen Stadium on Friday, October 4th. Ohio State coming to Autzen Stadium on October 12th. Illinois, Brett Bielema and crew, where they are not a top-flight Big Ten program. Brett Bielema has slowly and steadily been pumping out NFL draft prospects.
Remind me again where he's been that he hasn't been successful.
Arkansas was a bit of a hiccup, but he even had a couple good teams at Arkansas. I mean, all things considered, when you're playing the SEC at Arkansas.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic at Wisconsin, obviously.
That giant pig statue was something.
Oh, dude. I got buddy who's moving to Arkansas. He works for Walmart. Yeah. So he's moving to Bentonville.
Oh, to the motherland.
Yeah. He's moving to Bentonville, Arkansas. And I always tell him, like, you got to be very careful in saying you work for Walmart, not at Walmart.
Yeah.
That's true. Like if you say you work at Walmart, like they think you got the blue vest on.
Yeah, it's a different, you're rolling back prices.
Yeah, you work for
You want
Walmart.
your smile sticker?
Yeah. He's working for the Walmart.
Look, man, Arkansas is a middle of nowhere, and it is a inbred country, wholly different nation within our country.
That's fair.
But boy, can you get a whole lot of land real cheap.
Is he?
It has been pretty staggering to see the home prices.
My God.
Compared to here.
You can buy a castle in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like a McMansion for like $400,000.
Oh, yeah.
It's nuts.
No, I'm talking like 25 to 50 acres, 5,000 square foot house.
Is he going to get to use the the very famous private jets for Walmart? Because Walmart has a massive fleet of private jets, and they figured out the reason why is because they send all their executives out to do their bidding, and then they instead of just paying for hotel rooms, they'll fly them back the same day. It's actually cheaper. So,
really?
Yes, Walmart they do so much business that it is cheaper for them to just fly their execs back and forth instead of paying for hotel rooms.
Wow. All right. Yeah. I mean, you can get this is a brand new home, brand new build, brand new neighborhood here. You've got a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,300 square foot home for $428,000.
How many square feet?
2,300, 2,350 on the square footage there. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths.
Is that in Bentonville?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. On a pretty big lot.
Right on the water there? I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Well, no, Bentonville
I
is
don't know if they have any water
pretty.
there.
No, you got rivers
Got
and
water
lakes
there?
and tributaries and.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Good for that.
Little man-made creek there.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of brand new neighborhoods going up around there. Not too aggressive. That still sounds like it's a lot of money, but it's not really.
No, not
but
for
anyways,
a brand new house.
what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Illinois coming to Hudson Stadium.
Also things that are coming to be very expensive.
Yeah, Maryland also November 9th, and then UW comes down on November 30th for a tell. One thing that Oregon is doing this year is dynamic pricing for the home games. Okay, so you're looking at 50-yard line seats for the Idaho game. Properly priced, right? Those are $59. $59. And I found this via a Twitter user here who Mike Raby is his name. He posted this little graphic. 50-yard line seats for the Idaho game go for $59. If you want to get in the door, upper corners, $25 to $28, right? That's not bad. That's what you expect. Okay? You move forward, the Boise State game up in that competition. You have a lot of fans from Boise that are going to be coming over. You're looking at those same $59 seats for the 50-yard line for Idaho. Boise State, $117. Get-in price will be about $64. Okay. Michigan State, Jonathan Smith's return to the state of Oregon, $120 for those 50-yard line seats. $79 to get in the door. Then you get to the Ohio State game. It is $525 for 50-yard line seats for the Ohio State game.
Oh my God.
$290 to get in the door, according to this graphic.
Well, somebody think about the children.
I'm pretty sure NBA Finals tickets are going for like $500-600 right now. That's nuts.
But that is considered one of the biggest games in all of college football this year.
It's also how you can justify paying so much money for this stuff. The interest is clearly there. Whether it's Oregon, Ohio State, really, if it's any of the top-tier Big Ten or SEC schools, this is what it looks like when they come together for a matchup.
Yeah. I mean,
when Michigan, Ohio State play each other every year, when Alabama, Georgia play each other, it doesn't matter if they're playing in Mercedes-Benz and it's a 70,000-person stadium. It's full to the gills.
And look, there is a reason why you have pricing like this. Ohio State travels no matter where they are. They have the biggest alumni base in the country. There are bars here in Portland that are packed to the gills on a Saturday for Ohio State games. There will be a lot of Ohio State fans that come in, and so you look at it, and one, it could be a deterrent from Ohio State fans to travel from Columbus, Ohio, to get over here and get into Autzen Stadium. But also, you're looking at, that's the price of big-time college football games. When you have a game that is you look at every preseason poll that has come out right now, and it is June. It is way too early. These prices may drop dramatically based on the start to these seasons because these games are week 7.
Yeah, not only that, week of, you can get so much pricing variance.
Yeah.
I'm going to a particular concert this summer. It's one of the biggest concerts in the country, and I didn't buy tickets ahead of time because they were dumb expensive when they were released.
Yeah.
But you can find like 2 weeks out really cheap tickets because somebody goes, oh crap, I can't go.
Yeah. And look, there are a lot of folks that are already going, I'm going to be there no matter what. Ohio State fans that are going to be traveling for this game. People outside, not even Ohio State or Oregon fans, going to be traveling in because it's going to be a
big
top
matchup.
5 matchup. Yeah. No matter where you look, the projections are Oregon and Ohio State are top 5 teams in college football this year. You add the layer on top of that is essentially a preview of what many believe will be a Big Ten championship game. And there will be Big Ten championship game implications in that as well, because both teams will play Michigan, and both teams have Michigan on the schedule, which is a team that many are looking at to still be in the hunt despite the departure of Jim Harbaugh, despite the departure of 18 draft picks and a whole changeover in your roster and your coaching staff. They are still expecting Michigan to be a top flight program. Penn State is going to be really good, but Ohio State and Oregon, it goes a long way because there's not a lot of wiggle room in the Big Ten for stubbing your toe if you want to get to the Big Ten championship game. So that makes total and complete sense. And I don't look at it as they're pricing out all of the fans from going to the games. That game is different, man. It's a different animal, and
it's going to be for sure.
It's not 100,000 seat stadium. You're not in the Horseshoe where I think they would have 95,000 or 90,000, something like that.
Yeah,
at the Shoe.
You've got there, then you've got Michigan and Penn State are both over 100.
Big house at Michigan and Beaver Stadium. So you're looking at supply, demand, economics.
Yeah.
Boom. Dynamic pricing. It's going to be spendy to get in the door of that game, and that's why they have the benefits of being season ticket holders, where you don't have to deal with dynamic pricing on your season tickets.
The price
Single
is the price.
game,
man. Coming up next, it's our worst day on the web, and I got a smorgasbord, going to pick your own adventure grouping here of, oh my God, why do I have 7 different things that are happening out in the world today that are absolutely stupid, dumb, awful, and terrible? But first, here's Schultz with the Sports Center update.
Ooh.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update is brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, it is finally here. The wait is over. Game 1 of the NBA Finals between the Mavericks and Celtics in Boston set for tonight. Kristaps Porzingis will be back at center for the Celtics after missing 10 games with a strained right calf. They are a 6.5-point favorite. Coverage getting going over on 910 ESPN at 4:30. Tip-off set for 5:30 on ABC. Big news out of the NBA today as well. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, the Lakers preparing a massive offer for back-to-back NCAA champion coach of the UConn Huskies, Dan Hurley. The two sides have already had preliminary discussions. In baseball, the first-place Mariners facing off against the Athletics in Oakland in the rubber match of the series right now. They do lead at 1-0, top of the fourth. A Dylan Moore sacrifice fly, giving the Mariners their only run to this point. And the Memorial Tournament happening in Dublin, Ohio right now. Your leader, Adam Hadwin, at 6 under in the clubhouse already for the day. Scotty Scheffler, Corey Connors, and Colin Morikawa all tied for second place at 5 under. Scheffler already in the clubhouse as well. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigart is back. Saturdays at 8 a.m. before the Sinner and the Saint.
All right, I usually have a couple of these. There's one or two. Jeff will put some on here. Dusty will put some on here, and there's usually there's a clear. Yeah, that's a winner.
Yeah.
I have like 6 to go through. We can maybe rank these. We can go kind of back and forth. I want to start with this one because I'll be down there here relatively soon.
Okay.
Have you been to Vegas since the Sphere has been built?
Yeah. I was there in December.
That's right. Okay, so did they have it lit up any weird way for the playoff or the
Pac-12 championship game? They had something. They
Big
rolled,
duck or anything?
No, they just had like a fleeting, very quick like Pac-12 championship game
Whack,
thing, and then
it went away.
It went away. Yeah. But they did. When I went down there, they were doing like the marbling. They did like the globe was on it. The globe. It looked like Earth. Right?
Kyrie was tripping balls.
Yeah, he was like, that ain't it.
No.
That ain't it.
No.
It's on the ground. But
out.
They did a lot of really cool stuff, and there's like a almost like a psychedelic kind of lava lamp looking thing that
Which
they
is
did.
perfect as you mentioned that because they had Fish play there.
Yeah, they got Fish has a residency there.
Yes, they do.
I know a buddy who is a big time Fish fan, and he went down there, and there were terms thrown around like an outer body experience, a must see, like Fish fans are going crazy for their concerts in the Sphere.
They've got that, and they've also got the Grateful Dead experience.
Yeah,
which I don't know if anybody's seen pictures.
Dead and Company.
If anybody's seen the pictures of that event going on, there's like a floor area, like you have a floor concert venue, and it's a bunch of very rich hippies, otherwise known as children of parents who have a lot of money, taking all of the drugs and blacking out on the floor.
All right.
So that's happening. Speaking of drugs, Fish, and concerts in the Sphere,
jam bands, bro.
The first ever bong hit to be ripped inside the Sphere went viral back in April. And the concert goer, who's a big Fish fan, has now been banned permanently from the Sphere.
What?
Why? Because James Dolan's an a-hole. Because MSG owns the Sphere.
Bong rips, huh?
Yep.
That gets you banned for life.
Yep. In a letter
do
sent
that.
by Christopher Schimpf, the SVP and Associate General Counsel of Madison Square Garden Entertainment, the concertgoer was informed that they had violated the guest code of conduct by visibly smoking inside the venue. Sphere Entertainment Company will not tolerate actions that threaten the safety and security of our guests and employees.
You got to send a message. Wait. Contact high there. Well, I mean, security should be on blast for this one too. How's a guy get a bong into the Sphere?
The pat down guy that we see from all the gifs.
Yeah, he's just sitting there, and I mean, we know how this guy got. He stuffed that down the pant leg. It was like, you want to strip search me? I dare you. You know, but he shoved that down the pant leg, and he just kind of walked right on in there. That would be my guess as to how you get bong into the Sphere.
And the insane thing is here, he got the handwritten or the hand signed letter. It reads, "In light of your conduct, you are hereby indefinitely banned from Madison Square Garden, Radio City Music Hall, the Beacon Theater, the Chicago Theater, Sphere, and any other MSG venue. Read the MSG venues. You are not to enter or remain in any of the MSG venues at any time in the future. If you enter any of the venues, including with respect to Madison Square Garden, the box office, Chase Square, and the concierge areas, law enforcement will be contacted to ensure your expulsion, and you will be subject to the penalties."
So remember, MSG, they use facial recognition software to make sure that people that
which
are
they
banned,
have declined saying that they use, but it has been confirmed by multiple sources that they do in fact use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big Brother much?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This comes from January of 2023, so just over a year ago. From the New York Times, Madison Square Garden does in fact use facial recognition software to enforce bans from the arena. So I wonder if that includes Charles Oakley. But they do use that. So this dude, he's done so. That is so many venues. I think that you should just ban him from the Sphere. And if he does it again, if he goes and takes his bong to Madison Square Garden or Radio City Music Hall or the Chicago Theater, then
It's also
you can
very dumb.
imply the band to every other place.
He did this, and guess what? You've got all the pub in the world for your arena that you spent $1 billion more over budget for.
Yeah, this is nothing more than just sending a message, because everybody's talking about this now. We're talking about it here up in Portland, that this dude gets banned for, having a bong rip in the old Sphere there.
All this tells me is that if you're at the Sphere, you use edibles.
Well, I think that they're using different sorts of edibles.
It's true.
Wasn't variety of drugs that they're using. I'm sure
differentiating.
that there's a lot of edibles being taken there, but you just can't take the bong rips in the Sphere. They're just laying down the law. Send that message so nobody else. What did they expect when they had Phish have a residency there, though?
It's true.
Like, were they expecting none of these folks are going to be smoking weed in our venue?
Hey, I found a bag of mushrooms on the floor after this concert.
Which, you know what? That's a great way to transition into a second story here. Quit leaving your drugs around, people.
Is marijuana legal in Nevada?
Yes.
Is
it fully legal now?
Is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it wasn't. I don't think it was last year.
You can get it from
was
a state licensed retail store now.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's illegal to buy cannabis from any other source.
I believe they actually have the only cannabis cafe in the United States right now. So, kind of like what you would go do in Amsterdam.
Oh, okay.
So.
In Vegas?
Yes. Yeah, it's off. It's on the tribal land there, just off the strip, because you can't do that.
Right.
Laws, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Federal laws. Those happen.
Exactly.
But again, speaking of drugs being left around, they're now citing studies that, your drugs are affecting wildlife.
What?
A article in the Guardian cites meth-addicted fish and aggressive starlings, caffeinated minnows, and other studies have highlighted the issues surrounding people flushing their drugs or dropping their drugs near storm drains.
Oh, Finding Nemo told me every drain leads to the ocean, so this makes sense.
It really does. Apparently, there are European perch that are losing their fear of predators because they have...
Well, they're methed out.
No, they've taken too many antidepressants. So they're just like, whatever.
Wait.
Whatever happens, happens.
There's that many people flushing antidepressants to where the perch are like, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
How you doing, gator? Bad idea, brother.
Also, apparently, female starlings are dosed with antidepressants, so much so with high concentrations of Prozac that they're becoming less attractive to potential mates. They've found these group of starlings that are apparently becoming cracked out, Prozac strung out skinny birds that are no longer attractive.
Well, I think what we should do is flush some Viagra down the toilet and fix this problem, right? Is that what?
Just great. We're gonna horn out the animal kingdom.
Well, I mean, you got to counter it somehow. I think that this is the only way to do it. Is you got to get some aphrodisiacs, just flush them down the toilet, and eventually we'll find a balance somewhere, right?
I'm the more I'm reading,
I have a feeling this is why I'm not a scientist.
The more terrifying this stuff gets. There's another group of fish where
the band or
no, this
the
is
animal?
the drugs.
Right. Okay, just too much fish going on here.
A
And drug
contraceptive pill has caused sexual reversal in some fish populations, leading to a local collapse or extinction as male fish reverted to female organs.
Wait,
to quote Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Okay, now let's do the math on this one. How many people are flushing their birth control then? I mean, if we have, or are they just wrapped in condoms? What is happening here? You said contraceptives. I'm not quite sure which way
the
this is
contraceptive
going.
pill.
Okay, so people are flushing at
Plan B
alarming
or
rates their contraceptives down the toilet, which that doesn't make sense. I mean,
really, it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, why do you have them?
Because I think maybe at some point people want to try to have
so
a
they
baby,
just
so
flush
they
them
just
down the
throw them
toilet?
away. Yeah, it's like I feel like that you get rid of old stuff like that. That's not surprising to me at all.
Yeah.
Well, clear out the medicine cabinet. It happens.
This text on the Vancouver Ford text line when you were talking about the people that are at Grateful Dead concerts now, where you said they're rich, burnout hippies, Trustafarians. That is the most perfect name for them.
Mm-hmm. It's an offshoot of Dustafarianism.
No, Dustafarianism is just don't be a turd, be a good person, and you can be a Dustafarian. Follow me in my religion. If I get 10 followers, I can have I can establish myself a church.
Isn't that
and have tax?
Yeah.
I get the tax. I get all the tax perks
The Flying
of being
Spaghetti
a church.
Monster?
Yeah, I could. I'm just looking for. I don't know. But Sukanic, I got him on the hook. I think I got Farhad too. So I'm looking for like 8 others. I just need 8 others. We meet every Monday through Friday from noon to 3. That's where our congregation meets. It doesn't even have to be in person. It's right here on the radio. You just listen, and we're gonna call that church. And I'm gonna start getting those tax bennies. Let's go.
I like it.
You want in?
I like where we're going here.
We need 7 more. Schulte, you
There
in?
you go.
Yeah, let's go.
Ready to convert? 6 more. All right, perfect.
And this is how you start a cult on the radio.
I'm pretty sure I can get Rust. Yeah, 5 more.
I want like a position. Okay, you got to give me some kind of leadership.
All right, you're the exalted accountant.
Boom, love it.
That way, any of these tax things, they're on you, brother.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and then I'll
Hey!
just say, hey, we are a 510 religion. This is all
That's right.
tax free, right?
There we go. And that's how Dustafarian starts.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Actually, it started about 13 years ago when I married a couple on the radio.
love to see it. The only pushback here is I would maybe make Schulte the drink taster.
No, you could do that.
No, I don't want to.
You've had whatever, dude. We'll just triple dog dairy. I know you'll do it.
You're not wrong.
You see, there you go.
I mean, is it for poison or for like fun?
no, we don't take Kool-Aid. We don't poison Kool-Aid.
Okay,
No,
well-
we're not a cult.
I'll-
We're not a cult. Everybody's got to wear Nikes though.
That's the offshoot of swooshbagism.
That's right. That's right.
All right, coming up next, more on the
From
business.
the Book of Swoosh.
There you go. More on the business of college football as we get further and further down the road. We are just going to see more and more ways where college football is monetized. Danny and Dusty, 10 Fan.
It's back, and it
more money into people's pockets. It's
Gotta do it.
It's the way it's going to go. Ross Dellinger is reporting that there has been another agreement about how you can put more money in people's pockets. The NCAA Playing Rules panel has passed legislation that permits schools to display corporate logos on football fields.
Okay, now this can be dicey. Are we going to be going like the route of minor league hockey where you see like 80 logos all over the field? Because that would be too much. Like if you want to, though, have a corporate logo on the field, I think like
check mark shaped logo, perhaps in Eugene.
Oh yeah, I think that may fit. Like under the O, you have a swoosh right below it. That one would make a lot of sense there.
Or at the
right?
20-yard line, the smaller red zone markers. Like that would be the least surprising development, I think, out of this
ever. But it would be like I don't want it to get to a point where you're sitting there and you're looking at like the high school I played at. We had Coca-Cola end zones. Our end zones in high school were bright red, and it said Coca-Cola because they bought our turf field in exchange for vending machines in every single school in the district. Turns out, maybe not the greatest of ideas.
No, because remember the drinks that we had in those? What was that?
Surge.
Was it All Sport too?
All Sport,
All Sport.
All-Star, whatever. Yeah.
No, All Sport, which had like, I don't know, probably 45 grams of sugar in each bottle.
Yeah.
That stuff tasted so bad.
It was pure unadulterated sugar water.
And then it like All Sport went under. And then when I was in college, like All Sport hadn't existed for like 5 years. Like it went off the market. Is it back now? I think they may have brought it back briefly, but
they brought it back in the dry concentrate drink packets.
But All Sport, Montana State Northern had an All Sport sign in their end zone, and we're like, oh, they haven't made All Sport in like 5 years. What is this sign doing?
So in an 8-ounce bottle. I should say a 20-ounce bottle, but 8-ounce serving. It was 16 grams of sugar.
God damn.
Hey, they got electrolyte freezer pops now from All Sports, so let's go.
Oh,
so
hey,
I wasn't that far off.
Wasn't
when I
it
said
carbonated
45.
too?
Like slightly.
Yeah,
it
had like when you opened it, it had like a like it was not. It wouldn't bubble over the top.
It's for performance.
Yeah. The other one was
that
it wasn't
fizz makes you run.
It also wasn't a thirst quencher because that was Gatorade's tagline. It was a body quencher.
Oh yeah, huh? Not just your thirst; it's the whole body.
And I remember,
baby.
God, that is unlocking memories of Whitford Middle School.
Hey, all those old baseball players used to smoke. Why not add some bubbly to it too?
Yeah, that is that's one heck of a thing. And that's my fear is that we get into just way too many logos all over. If a school wants to sell their naming rights, like a prime example of this is Husky Stadium. It's Alaska Airlines Field at Husky Stadium, right? Put the Alaska logo on the 25. Boom. You've got that there. You've sold it. You want to go the swoosh at Nike, the Nike swoosh at Oregon, go ahead. Throw that on there. But it also, like, I want it to make sense in not, again, NASCAR it or minor league hockey where you have, a plethora of logos all over the field on every 10-yard line, the 40-yard line brought to you by, you're like, what? Or no, let's not do that. But schools need an extra avenue to make money because now that you're going to be having student athletes on the books, you got to find a way to pay them. And this is the next evolution of it. I'm not going to be surprised one bit if we see, patches on uniforms too, or, like we see in all of our other professional sports. That's going to be the next one. And it's the no-brainer slam dunk. And some schools are going to go bigger than others.
And that's going to continue to be.
KFC is going to be a thing. Wait till you have Papa John's inspired pizza pants for Louisville football. It's going to be weird.
Pepperoni pants?
Yeah.
But you're going to have. This is where those donors that were in the back rooms all of a sudden come to fruition.
If
you don't think SMU is going to have like some oil magnet company.
Oh, and the schools are going to be very cautious of which ones they go into business with because a school like SMU, and we know this based on how they got into the ACC, is they've got oil tycoons at 3 different oil companies.
Lots of them.
That are all big swinging you-know-whats. And the only thing they agree on is SMU football.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, are you going to have Mobile, Shell?
It's going to look like a NASCAR sponsorship by the time these guys are done.
It's like this side of the 50 brought to you by Mobile. This side of the 50 brought to you by Shell because they can't get along.
But, I mean, you're going to see I think you're going to see probably the differentiation, too, of the Nike schools, the Adidas schools, the Under Armour schools. I think you're going to see that stuff also proliferate differently.
I would be shocked if Adidas gets in Under Armour, I could see with Maryland. I'd be shocked if Adidas gets into any of these. Nah, because aren't they? They're an Under Armour school.
Are they a UA school now?
I think so.
I just saw somebody wearing Adidas hats.
That was UC
baseball.
Irvine. Yeah.
I had the lacrosse championship in my head too, and I was like, "Was that them?" No, I think you're right. I think it is Under Armour because I saw Golick Jr. tweet out their lacrosse stuff was Under Armour.
But I have no idea.
But anyways, yes,
that always changes.
Yeah.
But to get into these games like Under Armour at Maryland, Nike at Oregon, I could see happening, and I think that the schools they're going to be open for business in this. And like, I wouldn't be shocked if Oregon went a different way, even if like everybody's like, oh yeah, Nike, done, no brainer. Well, Nike already gives a lot of resources and money to the University of Oregon. They could go a different direction as well. You know, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if it was Pape or,
Columbia. Nah, too close.
Maybe
But
I have no idea what way they would go, but they don't want to ruin that. They don't want to make Phil Knight upset. So you don't go Columbia, right?
Stay out of that realm. But yeah, this is opening doors, and here's the thing: as they generate more revenue, because people are watching because of the players are going to start getting paid more too, which also leads to more business in sports. Which there's more of that to get to here in hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
I'm Chelsea Messenger, helping you beat the books with BetQL. The Braves roll into Washington after being shut out on Wednesday in Boston. Atlanta was held to just 1 hit in the game.
Here on Danny and Dusty on a Thursday afternoon, whether you're listening along at 1080 a.m., watching on youtube.com/1080 a.m. The Fan, or twitch.tv/1080 a.m. The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you. And we're just talking about the business of college sports, particularly college football, and the revenue it generates. There's further disclosure or opening of doors, which kind of makes sense with a company called Open Doors. Being out there right now about basically putting price tags on the value of college athletes. And they're not student athletes, they're college athletes. We're taking the student out of this and we're just calling them college athletes now.
There is Open Doors is a great company and program. Open Doors is kind of one of the first to jump on the scene of NIL and start to give value for NIL. And what Open Doors did is they put together a formula where if an athlete wanted to capitalize on NIL, they could register through a company like Open Doors, and they would say, all right, we're going to package you, put a bio together, and we will put a value based on the followers that you have on social media, your production in your respective sport, how much traction you can gain from your sport and why it is attractive to potential companies for endorsements. And that's why it was like at the very beginning of it, people were like, it's shocking how many gymnasts are making an incredible amount of money. Not just Livy Dunn. Not just Livy Dunn. Livy was her own social media animal. But
look, her, Cam Brink, the Cavender twins,
they're in a different stratosphere because they have supermodel looks and they're athletes as well. But a lot of gymnasts have a lot of social media followers because, one, it's a very niche sport and everybody kind of follows each other on social media. And the great gymnasts, they have a very large social media following because it starts like when you're 10 and 11 years old, and then it grows into, when you get to college. And outside of that, one thing that people love on social media is people doing freakish things. And when you can do a backhand spring, over a car or whatever, like people watch that and you attract a bunch of social media followers. And then boom, all of a sudden a company will throw money at you because that's where they can advertise. They can reach the most people through your social media account.
And it's not even just your social media following, because there's plenty of people. LaMelo Ball has a bajillion social media followers. Was it you who was telling me that the kids around your wife are all like LaMelo Ball fans?
No.
Somebody else who has a significant other who's a teacher. So they like the kids love LaMelo Ball. Just absolutely insane for him. But it doesn't translate. So it's not necessarily just the followers, it's your ability to engage, to create content. The Oregon women's softball team a couple of years ago, their ability to generate content that was just like, it captivated.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, even if you're not a star, if you are somebody who can generate content and drive people towards something, you can get valuations. You can get things that even if you're not, prime Tim Tebow, Reggie Bush, Marcus Mariota. Hell, Marcus is probably a guy who would have been terrible at the social media content engagement stuff.
Yep, a lot of followers, but it wouldn't.
Has no interest in doing it. Yeah. But he would get a massive valuation because of the man is selling tens of thousands of jerseys.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing is like these companies have to be so diversified and understanding. You can actually take this a year ago, the difference between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark was a monetizing monster. Angel Reese is getting kicked while she's down right now because of, people care about her too. They do. Social media cares about Angel Reese in the sense of like TikTok engagement, Instagram engagement, as not necessarily on the basketball side, but as a persona, as a character, so to speak. And I'm not trying to denigrate her or take away from her basketball ability or skills or marketability, but how Caitlin Clark was marketed at Iowa versus how Angel Reese was marketed and sold. Those NIL valuations, not even just in skill in basketball, but how they go across markets and what conversions actually look like, in Caitlin Clark's point, selling a bajillion tickets and getting revenue on TV unforeseen before.
And that's where Open Doors is finding a pivot because NIL is changing. That landscape is changing. Now, what is the next step for them? It is starting to create a formula that schools can look to for, all right, if we are going to have a salary cap and we are going to be paying players, what are their values in college sports? Because that is totally different. Because at Caitlin Clark, yeah, she puts butts in seats. And Marcus Mariota is another great one where Marcus Mariota maybe in the NIL world wouldn't have been the greatest for the engagement of fans because he's not a content creator. But you know what he did? He put butts in seats. And that's what schools are going to be wanting to find out. All right. How many butts and seats do you put?
How many jerseys do you sell?
What is going to be your value to our program as we move forward in a world where it's a pay-for-play style in college football?
Think about it this way. Quentin Nelson, offensive lineman for the Indianapolis Colts. One of the most dominant, mauling mother bleepers on the face of the planet in college football. Your NIL value is almost 100% coming from your production as a football player because nobody's buying Quentin Nelson jerseys. Even if you're the best offensive lineman in the country, you are Joe Thomas reborn. Unless you're out there doing the Tomahawk podcast on top of it and people are in a hurry to go buy whatever it is you're hawking or whatever you're selling, your jersey, those valuations are going to scale. Everything is going to be different now. And now the top of the top guys and what they can monetize and how they can monetize, or it's going to get real,
and there will
real
be,
quick.
There will be a lot of coaches that go,
oh God,
thank you, Open Doors, for this. But a guy like Quentin Nelson, he means a whole hell of a lot to our football team. So he is not going to get the value that you think he does. His value is way more. It's like a front office in football. But I think that what Open Doors is doing is saying,
it's giving you baselines.
A majority of schools, they don't have that.
No.
And we can provide that for them on a baseline level.
And schools shouldn't, to be honest.
And then we should start moving forward. They should now. I mean, they honestly should now.
You know, in my sense of like, they should not be in the business of doing this. They should be hiring companies to do this. Like that's what your job is to be a football team, not a marketing firm. Like
and that's the thing is that it's not marketing. It's how good they are. Isn't that what?
Yes.
We're gonna say the quiet part out loud. You know, I think one thing that NIL really has done though is that a lot of the offensive line, defensive line types, they're getting a lot of these NIL deals that they're actually really good because they're more local, right? Like Jackson Powers Johnson, he had the JPJ burger at Elkhorn Brewing, I think, in Eugene. Like those are perfect. You're starting to see like locally, offensive linemen and defensive linemen are the people that probably should be hawking products over a wide receiver.
Food, always food.
And I mean, really anything.
But
those
I mean,
guys, dude wipes, food, like anything that has comfort.
If it starts at the top and ends up at the bottom, anywhere along that pathway, that's what they should be hawking.
Perfect, man.
Also, the coldest can continue to market AC.
That's what I'm talking about.
I still love the Jack Coletto Leatherman deal. I mean, that because he's a jack of all trades.
The multi-tool, yeah,
exactly. That's just that kind of like the stuff that makes sense. Yeah.
The Utah, everyone in the parking lot having a Dodge Ram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you go to a lot of campuses around the country and everybody's got a Hellcat.
Those cars, a controversial take here. Those cars are stupid how loud they are.
They are.
It is so annoying.
Find another cool car. Stop being the stereotypical football player. It's like if you go to an Air Force base, if you go to where the flight hangars are, there will be a pile of BMWs or motorcycles. Crotch rockets. There will be nothing else. Like where the pilots park, nothing else. It's like it is the most direct line stereotypical thing you will see anywhere. It's like, oh, there you go. That's where the pilots are parking. It's a bunch of BMWs and crotch rockets.
Yeah, I saw a guy on social media. He had his he did this video every morning because there was somebody, he lived like downtown in a condo, and he goes, there's a guy who drives a Hellcat and he leaves for work at 4:30 every morning, and you could just hear it like for blocks.
Yeah.
For blocks. He's like, windows are closed, and you just like all the way down. It was like 30 seconds every single time. He's like, every morning, just boop, boop, boop. That would be so annoying.
That's where you go full banana in the pill.
Yeah, aren't you blowing a noise ordinance at that point? God, shut up.
I think that's what the guy was asking. He's like, can't stop the guy from going to work, I guess, you know?
4:30 in the morning is too much. If I could hear,
you have to drive a hybrid or an electric vehicle if you go to work that early,
or don't have that exhaust.
And as kids, I had a car that was kind of loud in high school for a little bit. Looking back on that, the amount of times I had to push that thing in and out of the driveway
quietly
to sneak out of the house, it's like kids now. Pro tip: if you're a kid, push for the hybrid.
Oh, God,
one, you're spending less on gas, and two, it's easier to sneak out of the house.
Yeah, mom and dad are
God's
paying
sakes.
to charge it.
Golly,
Get the charging station at home.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what? Don't go down that route. Push for a light. Be like, you know what? Care about the environment.
I hate
Want
it when
the
I'm at a
electric
crosswalk
vehicle.
and I've got my back to the street or something like that, and all of a sudden I turn around and there's a car there that wasn't there 2 seconds ago.
Hey, save
It
your
just
money.
Sneaks up on you. It's like, oh God!
Sneak out of the house. Two greatest silent killers in the world: heart disease and Prius drivers.
Oh, I thought
Can't see either of them coming.
Okay.
They just sneak up on you.
No,
Bam,
they
dead.
They will sneak up on you. Well, this might be sneaking up on us now. The NBA Finals. You want to talk about it some more?
Yeah.
Let's dive into all that we need to know ahead of tonight's game, which is only just a couple hours away now because it's a nice early tip.
Woohoo!
Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to
The Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks are set to get underway in a matter of hours in, I'd say sunny Boston, but it probably sucks there because most of the time it's not great. Not a place known for the wonderful weather, as it were. But there is a question here, and then Jason Tatum has already kind of admitted to it. There's pressure on the Boston Celtics. They have essentially mortgaged every bit of their immediate future to go get Kristaps Porzingis, trade away Marcus Smart, and get Jrue Holiday after bringing in Derek White previously.
And let's not forget pay Jaylen Brown the highest paid contract in NBA history.
Yes, and Jason Tatum next year, the most money in the NBA. He will surpass that. This is a team that is loaded for the right now. There is pressure. Regardless of what Celtics fans will tell you, there is very real pressure because, as we talked about, this Celtics team has been good since Jaylen Brown got there. They have never finished below 500. At some point in time, you have to either get over that hump or become a team that came real close, but you just couldn't do it.
And look, the next 2 years are those years for the Boston Celtics because the NBA, with the new collective bargaining agreement, they will be a second apron team once you have Jason Tatum's deal come up. That is going to put the screws to win a title this year or next year because you're going to have to make some really tough decisions. And they have made decisions that, they've been all right. Like Marcus Smart leaving. That's a pretty tough decision. But then you go, yeah, we got Drew Holiday. We got that replacement. You're not going to be able to make those sorts of decisions with ease moving forward because it's going to be, all right, which one of these pillars do we let go of?
Yes, and I mean, you stay at the second apron too long, you forfeit a draft pick.
That is wild to me.
Like, oh, you want to stay up there? Cool. Mortgage your future. Quite literally. Gone.
I can't wait till teams are just like, you know what? All 30 of us, we're all just going to forfeit the draft pick.
Or a team just says, screw it, we have more money than God, and you're LA or Miami. People want to come here no matter what.
Yep. That's the way you get around it.
Yeah. Look, I don't know if it'll be tested for sure, but
are they going to unintentionally create more super teams by having the such punitive rules against it?
I don't think so, because as much as everybody's like, well, they could just take less money and they could figure it out. And I'm like, well, we've seen it happen exactly once in Miami. And even then, you had one dude in Chris Bosh take less money because Braun and Wade both took the max slots.
I feel like Golden State also did it with, like, guys could have gotten more money on the open market, but they went and they played there.
KD got paid. There. Well, the only reason they did it was because Steph.
But they did it.
Yes, but they also they did it because Steph was still on the other deal, and they couldn't justify it. Like, hey, Steph, appreciate you taking that lesser deal 3 years ago. I'm going to go ahead and go get 40 now. They had to wait until Steph got his, and then.
But I mean, they did to a lesser, and that's what I said.
Significantly lesser extent, but to come together, they were already there. It was just a fortuitous circumstance because KD still got paid. That's the thing about this Celtics team is that there is real pressure because they did fall on their face last year. They absolutely just tripped, fell with their mouth open, and knocked the front teeth out.
They are favored in this series.
Yes.
They should be favored in this series. They have 5 of the top 7 players in this series. And I don't think it's particularly close. Well, after you get outside of the top 7 players, you're going non-factors largely in. Well, not non-factors. I think PJ Washington.
PJ and both bigs for the Mavs. Like that's the thing is, once you get out of that top 7, the next 5 are all Mavs.
Yeah, because
the Celtics. Well, unless you want to say Horford now, Horford slots in there somewhere because Horford's now coming off the bench. I will be surprised, as long as everybody stays healthy, if Hauser plays more than a couple minutes and Pritchard maybe not even getting off the bench. Like, that's how tight Boston is going to run this.
They should.
Because the few exploits that the Mavs have are when those guys come on those bench performers for the Celtics got annihilated.
And we
against the Pacers.
Just think of the games that were close for the Celtics in the playoffs so far. That game 1 that took overtime to beat Indiana, there were minutes where Pritchard, Hauser, and Luke Cornett were all on the floor together.
I don't think that happens in the finals.
No, because they went into that series going, let's see what we can get away with.
Yeah.
And they got away with that game. They won in overtime, but they got away with that game, and then we didn't see it again.
No.
We did. Joe Mazzulla's like, yeah, we're not going to play with our food that much.
We've gone up a level. We need to tighten this up.
And they did. And now with Porzingis, that becomes the biggest question where you are sitting there and you're looking at, all right, what do his minutes look like, first of all, when he's on the floor, his production, how does he look, and how many can he give you? Because Al Horford cannot play 40 minutes a game.
My man is out here huffing and puffing, but he can still go.
But in the NBA Finals, he cannot play 40 minutes a game.
Not only that, he can't play 40 minutes a game against Lively, then Gafford, then Lively, then Gafford, and then, Chase P.J. Washington out here, recover to Luka here. I was like
you need.
He's
in
an
an ideal world,
warrior.
you're playing 20 minutes of Al Horford,
yes.
and
28 of
28 of Porzingis.
Yeah.
That is your ideal world that you will live in, and that's where Boston.
If they get that, they're in a great spot.
They're in a phenomenal spot. I don't know how many you get tonight, game 1 from Kristaps Porzingis. You're going to have a minutes restriction. What does that look like, though? I know he's off the injury report, but I would be shocked if he went 30 or more minutes.
He's still
tonight,
7'3", and he had 16 different lower body injuries when he was in Dallas.
You are going to look. I think you're probably going to see about 20 to 22 minutes. That's usually what we see in a guy coming off an injury, very similar to this. And then you're going to start seeing, all right, how did that feel? What does he look like? And hell, if it doesn't look great, I think you're still probably going to see the exact same amount, though, because you need it from him, because you can't push Al Horford that far in the postseason. So that to me, number one thing I'm looking for tonight. The other one is we will see, because this is going to be the straight up, all right, we're going to feel each other out, how we're going to play. What does that Luka takeover look like offensively?
The flip side of that is, who does Luka guard? And how effectively can he do it?
Derek White.
I could see him being on Derek. I could see him being on Drew, because Drew's usually the guy in the corner.
Yeah.
And if he plays in the corner, then Luka can kind of gamble a little bit. And if they're going to live with Drew Holiday, like if you're, I love Drew, but if you're telling me of that starting offense, who is the guy that I want to take the open three? I don't necessarily want it in the corner. I'd much rather it be an above the break three. But if there's somebody I want taking that three of that group, Drew, Derek, Jason, Jalen, Kristaps, it's Drew.
Drew. Put Luke on him.
If I'm looking for a little bit of it's not necessarily an exploit, he's the one who's going to give you the least amount of rim pressure, and the one who historically is least likely to can the three zone.
And on that, if that is the case, then where are you what does the rest of the fallout look like, right? Kyrie, then, is he on Jaylen Brown or Derek White?
I think he put him on White.
Then Derek Jones Jr., you have him on Jaylen Brown, and then you will have P.J. Washington
on the Jays. Yeah, you swap those. And
on
I think
Jason Tatum.
I think you're going to see Dante Exum get time on those guys as well. It was like, well, he's a guard. Dante's like 6'5", almost 6'6", with I want to say he's got a 7-foot wingspan.
A lot of depth on Dallas. They're going to play 7.
And he's strong.
They're going to play 8,
maybe
7
8.
or 8.
I think
because you're going to get Lively, you're going to get Exum.
Lively starting. Gafford.
You're going to get Gafford. You're going to get Exum. Then you're going to get Tim Hardaway Jr.?
Nah, Hardy.
Okay.
Hardy. I think Jaden Hardy is going to be the guy.
Because
Kirk said if Tim Hardaway Jr. is on the floor,
he said significant minutes from Hardaway Jr.
Then it's getting a little dicey. But yeah, no, I think Dallas can go deeper. You have more guys that you trust, which, like I said, yes, the top 7, 2 of them belong to Dallas. The other 5 belong to Boston.
What about Maxi Kleber too? Being healthy, shooting threes. I mean, he was playing like 20 minutes in the last 2 games.
We'll see where he's at.
Series.
Yeah, so they
I
might
think
go.
He may be your 8th.
Yeah, he'll be there over Jaden.
Yeah. All right. So there's your 8.
It's like I said,
if Kleber gets hot from 3, he can.
There are very few people in that organization who do not absolutely love and adore Maxey, not just because of who he is as a person, but what he means to them on the court. Because he can allow them to go play small ball. He can stretch the floor. He can rebound. He can be a switchable defender. Like he's a Swiss Army knife that, because of his injury, has kind of gone under discussed, and because of P.J. Washington's emergence.
Rightfully so.
So look, I'm not looking at those guys like, oh my God, they're going to be huge deal. But if you told me they Caleb Martin this thing, I would not be shocked. If there's going to be somebody in this series,
unconscious,
whether it's Drew, whether it's Derek, whether it's Kleber, whether it's P.J. Washington, there's going to be an other. There always is.
P1 B-Rod and his dad are golfing. B-Rod says Mavs by 10. Celtics come out cold and won't adapt to the Mavs defense. How about that?
That's a spicy take.
How about that?
I bet you make some decent money on that.
Right.
If you find a line of Mavs, alternate line, Mavs minus 10, or Mavs
Humble,
plus 10.
humble prediction for the finals. There will be many pundits who pick the Mavs because they're supremely talented and played against the mighty Western Conference, and the Celtics had an easy schedule. When the Celtics win, these same pundits say, well, it's not that impressive. They beat a bunch of weaklings in the East and then only had to get past a 5 seed in Dallas. I could 100% see that.
I believe that's from our resident Celtics fan.
But I 100% see that line of thinking happening. I could totally see that happening. Be like, well, if they would have gotten Denver, it's like, well, Denver lost in the conference semifinals. Okay, if they would have gotten Minnesota, it would have been a worse matchup. Yeah, it would have, but Minnesota didn't win. They won the NBA championship, and they had the best record throughout the course of the season.
I'm not wholly above discrediting the Lakers or the Celtics if they win a title. Are you kidding me? Sick and tired of both of them. For the love of God.
You're gonna call both of those teams, both those franchises, most recent titles, absolutely fraudulent.
Fraudulent asterisks.
Bubble. Lakers got the bubble title. Yep. The Celtics got everybody
all the
injured.
injuries.
Yeah, all right.
I'm not. You know what? I like where this is going.
That's a hill you'll die on.
Nah, I'm not afraid to go down that route. All right, let's have a little bit of fun here. What if I told you could manipulate a baseball stadium into changing some outcomes in a ridiculous manner in the weirdest way possible?
Like by putting a hill in center field?
You wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, no, not that one.
But first, here's Schultze with a Sports Center update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update is brought to you by Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. Grab your meat for grilling season and save 10% on your Butcher Shop order when you dine in. Menus at laurelhurstmarket.com. First on The Fan, it is finally here. Game 1 of the NBA Finals between the Mavericks and Celtics in Boston set for tonight. Center Kristaps Porzingis back after 10 games out with a strained right calf. The Celtics a 6.5-point favorite. Coverage gets going over on 910 ESPN in a couple hours at 4:30. Tip-off set for 5:30 on ABC. Also out of the NBA, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, the LA Lakers preparing a massive offer for back-to-back NCAA champion coach of the UConn Huskies, Dan Hurley. The two sides have already reportedly had some preliminary discussions. In baseball, the first-place Seattle Mariners in Oakland facing off against the Athletics for the rubber game of their 3-game set. Bottom 7, Seattle does lead 2-0 right now. A Mitch Garver RBI single and a Dylan Moore sac fly getting the Mariners a couple of runs. And the Memorial Tournament happening in Dublin, Ohio right now. Round 1 leader so far, Adam Hadwin. He is at 6 under in the clubhouse, 2 tied for second. Scotty Scheffler and Colin Morikawa, both at 5 under. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The afternoon round of the 10th Annual Fan Golf Classic, presented by Autotown GMC, is sold out.
is baseball stadiums themselves. It's the allure, it's the glow, it's the uniqueness.
It's the most unique sport that we have because every venue is different. You know, in soccer, you have some pitches that are slightly off, but it's still relatively the same, right?
Sure, you may have a little bit shorter, longer grass or even fake grass.
In baseball, you could have, you could go anywhere from the Green Monster to Safeco Field, where it's wildly different dimensions-wise. You have deep fields, you have short porches, you've got, the foul territory can be cavernous, like if you're at the A's Stadium, where you can hit a pop-up, like right behind, usually it's in row 10, but the catcher can get back there and catch it at the backstop. It's
go.
Crazy. You can have wildly different venues everywhere you go, and even like the walls aren't even all the same. You could have like cyclone fencing in some spots where you can see back in through the dugout. You can have thick padding. You can have a wall that has ivy growing over it, like at Wrigley. It is truly the most unique sport because of the variation that you have in the stadiums themselves. It's crazy. That's why I love baseball.
Previously, the only place you could really track atmospheric conditions having such a stark contrast on a baseball team was at Mile High in Colorado, where literally putting baseballs in humidors, the ball used to fly out of the park because of lesser wind resistance. You were at thinner air, ball velocity, go further.
Yeah.
It's literally
Thin
simple
air,
physics.
Don't hold the ball back.
Yeah, so they dampened the balls a little bit to make sure they could keep them from going 600 feet every time they got hit.
And you have the wind tunnel at Yankee Stadium where short porch,
in right field,
big breeze, ball go far.
Well, we now have another situation that may be popping up in Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
where they're out in the upper deck. There has they've been doing work up there for a while, right? There've been storage containers that have acted as false walls at the highest heights of the stadium.
So basically, at the top of, what is it? I don't know. It's not Progressive, is it?
It might
it's
be
something
still.
else. But at the Guardian Stadium in right field, they had were essentially shipping containers that were semi-permanent storage facilities that the team was using. And this year, they took those out at the Guardians ballpark. And
It is still Progressive Field.
it is still Progressive.
Yeah, looking at a video of it right now.
So when they took those out, everybody's like, "Oh, cool! You can kind of see out." It was a different look or whatever. Guardians are now raking.
It has an actual atmospheric condition because this is the kind of thing that, like, it truly does matter when you're talking about designing and building a ballpark and building your team around your ballpark. It is a real thing. If you're a pitcher in Colorado, your ERA is going to suck. There's nothing you can do about it. Is it more helpful if you're a downward movement pitcher? If you're a sinker baller? Sure. But there's just certain things that you can't afford. There's also other parks where you may not get taken yard, but there's a lot of space for balls to drop. The opportunity here that existed for the Guardians is that the wind would come out from behind hitters and carry out to the outfield. That's not always the case. In Seattle, the wind changes up there at T-Mobile because the stadium's counter to what most places are. It's northeast facing, I believe, instead of northwest.
Couldn't tell you.
But the winds swirl out there, and it knocks balls down in the evening. That's a thing that happens out there. In Cleveland, the wind comes from behind the batter and pushes towards right field, where in the past, those storage box, think of it as driving a brick. When the air hits the front of the brick, it goes down. Air will take the path of least resistance. Well, those storage containers are gone now, so it's essentially creating a 45-degree launch angle that carries the ball out of the park.
Yeah, the working theory here behind the Guardians, which the Progressive Field was dead last in Major League Baseball in home runs.
It was dead ball hell.
And it was 1.5 home runs per game were hit in Progressive Field. This year, they are up to 2.8 home runs per game. And with the lineup relatively the same as a year ago, what's the big difference? the working theory is that those shipping containers being gone have helped every hitter that enters that ballpark, because there was a video on TikTok where somebody was kind of breaking all this down, and they took a hit from the Dodger series last year. Left-handed hitter, okay, against like a 88 mile an hour ball. Same exit velocity, same launch angle as a hit by this year a left-handed hitter by a similar pitch speed, similar exit velocity, similar launch angle. The Dodger series a year ago was like, I think they said it was like 21 feet shorter of the fence. This year, it went 13 feet over the fence. And they're saying, I mean, if you look at every other thing is equal, either that or Major League Baseball is juicing the balls again, but which could be happening. When you look at the Guardian Stadium, though, these home runs, they're not exploding in every other ballpark like they are in Cleveland. It's because they took storage containers out. At this rate, every single Major League Baseball stadium's got to be going, all right, what can we do? Like, what are we going to be looking at can we do something? Because it's a change within the rules, 100% within the rules, but it has had a massive effect. They're 40-20 first place in the AL Central.
If I remember right, I believe it was the Diamondbacks when they first got put in there. The difference between the open air and the closed air building, because of the heat, like the cool air, like it had the same effect, which is why there's so many times when they want to open it up. Number one, it's cheaper if you have it open, but number two, if you open it up, it allowed them to drive the ball. The open air allowed the ball. Like
That's crazy, man.
It's a finite measure and gain for sure, but if you are the Yankees and you are looking at the best power hitter in baseball, but they do not hit to right field, that's something you genuinely have to consider because of the 81 games that you play there. Like, you have to go, he's got to hit this thing a lot farther in the left field. How much? And what's really interesting is the MLB is the best when it comes to analytics across the board, both on the professional and the fan side. You can actually take all of hit tracking and you can put it in whatever park. Is this a hit in this park? Is this a home run in this park? The expected gain in like Coors Field. Like, hey, if this was hit in Coors Field in the exact same conditions but at 5,200 feet, how does that look? Well, that ball's gone by 37 feet. Like, that kind of data is out there, and teams take that stuff, and that is built into free agent and trade profiles, and prospect profiles. Like, if they're going to play in this park and this is how they can use it, it's not the biggest part of the component, but it is a part of the dossier. Like, it's a real thing, and that's honestly part of the beauty of baseball is that you do, because you are playing it 80 plus times. Well, let's say 75 because nobody's Cal Ripken Jr. anymore. Those opportunities exist, and this is just a cool story from Cleveland.
Yeah, this is
that just highlights how this kind of works, because
in the most baseball story ever,
and it's a math problem. It is either the ball is changed or the outlying circumstances changed. Because for a ball to travel, mass times velocity squared, like we know the literal math behind it. So one of the variables had to change. Yeah. Either the velocity changed because there's less wind resistance, or the mass of the baseball has changed.
I wouldn't put either past baseball.
Both are an option. Yeah. But it's kind of crazy because it is genuinely a math problem. Yeah. And we could look at it from that vein.
Yeah. I mean, this is like akin to the Miami Dolphins go, we got the fastest player in football, in Tyreek Hill. We're going to have our field slanted down one direction.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to adjust the field down like a half a degree.
We're going to make him a little bit faster on this thing.
Oh, God.
He's like, all right. We're going to take that way. Every fourth quarter, we're going to be going that way.
You're playing on glass because they're going to shave it so close to the dirt that you're just
awesome.
Is there grass that we're on? Is just painted there?
Or Notre Dame, which
the bog
famously would water their field to oblivion and not mow it when they're playing fast teams.
Oh, you're from Florida? Come on up here to the swamp.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that.
You'd actually have Florida, who plays in the swamp, going to a swamp at Notre Dame and struggling.
It's funny that you think a SEC team would cross the Mason-Dixon line for a game.
It's true. There's actually contractually there's a barrier there that prevents them from progressing any further. All right, as we wrap up today's show, we have a little bit of news and notes from the NFL that I think is a fun way to wrap up today's show. Danny and Dusty, today, the Fan.
It's the Fan on Demand.
They're kind of fun to play with, aren't they?
Now, fan podcasts are better than ever with whole show podcasts.
I appreciate you because we needed a hamster to pedal this wheel around.
And you can still get newsmaker interviews in any hour from your favorite fan shows.
Yes, all right.
Listen to the Fan on Demand on your phone, smart speaker, or 1080thefan.com.
How long do you leave it up there?
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the Bag Boys.
What?
Bag Boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag Boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JVC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Oops. Ever had your singing lessons cut short by icy water?
Oh, I'm sorry, honey.
Say goodbye to those cold notes with Navien tankless water heaters. With Navien, you'll hit all the right notes without the surprise chill. So keep singing and let Navien keep the hot water flowing. And get ready for the encore when you get your utility bill.
La 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 la.
Navien tankless water heaters. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
God, who were the Eagles playing? Was it? God, I can't remember. Big Dom DeSandro got into it. Was it the Bills?
Oh man. No, Niners. It was
Niners. That's
Niners.
who it was.
I knew it was Greenlaw.
Yeah, I knew it was a big game. That's right. It was where Greenlaw got hurt coming off the sideline there.
Yeah.
The big man who look, he's got a Waste Management sounded title. He's got a Italian flag stitched into his Eagles gear. My man is through and through built by the mob. Even if he's not, he's straight out of Central Casting.
His job is to find Italian restaurants in whatever city they're going in.
Yeah. And his name's Dom DeSandro. He has now been promoted as the Eagles have released their new staffing updates. He is, and I'm not kidding, the senior advisor to the general manager, their chief security officer, and the game day coaching operations.
That's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility.
That is a full-on Waste Management title.
Yeah, they just were like, yeah, we're going to have something very important for you to get. And
it gives
I
them
wonder
access
if this,
everywhere.
Yeah, I wonder if this doubles as, if you get ejected and suspended from the sidelines again, you now have a title that can put you in the owner's suite.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Come on
can just
up
be
here.
with Howie Roseman the entire time.
And essentially, people like Dom. Or Dom knows where literally everybody in Philadelphia is buried.
Love Big Dom.
Yeah.
Like, Big Dom his suspension, direct correlation with the fall off of the Philadelphia Eagles. He was the secret sauce. He was Michael's secret.
He's the secret pasta sauce?
It was a little. I bet it's a vodka sauce.
I bet you.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah, I bet it's a vodka sauce.
Meat sauce?
I like a good meat, a meat vodka sauce. Just give me that.
Hey, let's go. That is a phenomenal title.
I mean,
and well earned.
Look, man, importance matters. Also, this in the NBA world, as we talked about the JJ Redick / Danny Hurley switcheroo that is happening with the Los Angeles Lakers. David Meneman just tweeted out, LeBron James, through his representatives, has made it clear the Lakers should do what is best for the organization. Is mindful and respectful. The Lakers need to make a decision on a coach that will be with the team beyond his playing career.
Yeah, we believe that.
Uh-huh.
We believe that. And as long as that coach is ready to take on every player that LeBron James personally wants on the roster, as long as they do that, yeah, he's in.
LeBron James is worried about the
LeBron James, you mean? LeBron James is worried about LeBron James.
Well, I was just saying he's worried about the franchise stability of the organization he's not going to be a part of going forward.
That's right.
I said this yesterday, and I kind of want to hear your guys' quick take on it. If LeBron James had Damian Lillard's personality, essentially kind of a little bit more patient, maybe a little bit more willing to work with a franchise, I feel like he'd double his rings. Like, he would have had close to Bill Russell status, a ring for every finger.
No.
I felt like he was pretty patient at the beginning in Cleveland.
Okay.
I feel like he was in Cleveland. He definitely was, and then he was working with Dan Gilbert and was like, screw this guy.
I mean, Gilbert, that guy sucks.
And then, I mean, he got his in Miami, but then he went up against another super team.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I saw somebody call his career a failure, and that is his. And I was just like, they said, well, Jordan didn't do this and Kobe didn't do this. Like, they were the super teams.
Look, I do believe LeBron James, he is the puppeteer that everybody projects him to be.
Yeah,
he is that guy. His talent is undeniable.
Yes.
And
you can make an argument for being the best.
Cultivated image and never stepping in it, never getting in trouble, is the most impressive things in all of sports.
I mean, Messi got busted for tax fraud.
Think of being 15 years old when people were first like, oh my God, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, he is almost 40 years old. And the worst thing that he has done is the decision.
I can't go a month without stepping in it.
I mean, when somebody that hates
You stepped
LeBron...
in at the beginning of the show.
What do you mean? Shohei?
Yeah. No, as somebody that hates LeBron but can't not, like, I have to tune in whenever he's playing because I don't know how much time he's got left in the NBA. No, that just speaks to his talent alone.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that'll do it for us on this Thursday. Coming up next, one of Isaac and Suk is back. Big Suk back in the building today, huh? He's a little worse for the wear. He looks like he's been through a war or two right now. I mean, my God. But we'll be back tomorrow from noon to 3. We'll regale you all things NBA Finals Game 1, which is tonight at 5:30. Up next, 4 hours of power from their mouths to yours. It's Prime Time with Isaac and Suk right here on The Fan.
Bye.
Hey, I'm Brett Podolsky, co-founder of The Farmer's Dog. We make fresh food for dogs. We started the company when we saw what